You're listening to Rebels Radio, the online home of Slough Town match commentaries, brought to you by the worldwide...
Good afternoon and welcome to today's Evo-Stick Southern Premier League match here at Holloways Park. This is MyFC Radio Rebels.
MyFC Rebels Radio?
Where are we today?
We're at Holloways Park and we're playing Truro City, so welcome to all you White Tigers fans back in the Cornish capital. Was that
White Tigers?
That's their nickname.
There's
that boy over there who's dressed like a tiger.
No, he's got a snake on his head.
Has he got a what? Oh, okay.
I didn't understand that either, but never mind. Anyway, it's Slough Town versus Truro City today. We'll just run through some details for you. Yeah, Truro will be playing in all white, apparently.
Okay, all white. All white. All white?
All white.
Michael Barrymore.
Well, I don't think we should go down that road. We'll run
or in that pool.
Shall I run through the teams while you... Because you'll mostly be playing on your phone or something like
that. Yeah, we're just waiting for the teams to come out here at Holloways Park.
Yes, we have 15 beavers, and don't get too excited. They're like little scouts or something, aren't they?
They are. They're junior cubs.
That's it.
You know, I think you go beavers, cubs, scouts. So we're just at Holloways Park. It's a dry day. The sun's just starting to poke out, which might cause us a bit of a headache in terms of view. But we're waiting for the two teams to come out. It's dry. The pitch is hard and bobbly here, and we're expecting a game where the ball may spend quite a lot of time in the air, aren't we?
Or in the back of the Slough net.
Okay, looking forward, the game today is between high-flying Truro City, who currently sit fourth and in one of the playoff spots. Their ambition is to come third, I believe, and try and secure a home playoff. I think that's a target that their manager, Steve Tully, who's named himself on the bench, has set for themselves. So we're just waiting for the referee, Matt Corlett, to lead out the two teams from on the right-hand side, and out come the Beavers. The Slough team, in goal, number 1, Luke Williams, 2, Sean Fraser, 3, Ryan Parsons, 4, and returning captain, Adam Fowler, 5, Rhys Shawk, 6, Billy Jeffries, 7, George Short, 8, James McClurg, 9, Scott Harris, 10, Ed Smith, and 11, making his debut for the Rebels, Liam Malone. And on the bench, 12, Guy Hollis, 14, Jake Parsons, 15, Chris Henry, and 16, Dan Reed, and 18, Gurkan Gochman.
Do you want me to go through the White Tigers with you?
Go on then.
For Truro City, in goal, they have Tom McHale, who's only making his 4th appearance of the season for Truro. 2 is Shane White. 3 is Danny Greenslade. 4 and captain is Jake Ash. 5 is Rob Farkins. 6, Aaron Pugh. 7, Dan Green. 8 is Shane Crack. 9, Matt Wright. 10, Isaac Vassell. 11, Cody Cook. And the substitutes for Truro today: 12, Craig Duff. 14, Les Affle. 15, Riot Brett. 16 is the manager, Steve Tully, and 13 is the substitute goalkeeper, who is Kyle Moore. Today's referee is Matt Corlett, and ably assisted, we hope, by Zach Ellis and Jack O'Hain.
Yeah, so a few changes for the White Tigers today. Truro, most notably Tom McHale in goal, making only his 4th appearance. The ginger-haired keeper who's wearing a kind of orange kit that complements his hair today.
Yeah, and it's going to take a long time because all the Beavers are shaking
everybody's hand in the world.
And then the referee's
tiny,
hand.
Aren't they? Yeah, they are all very small. As Truro City...
Well, I don't know. I think some of them are actually taller than our new signing, Chris Henry, so...
Yeah, Truro City lining up in the left-hand half as we look at it, with the sun just breaking through the crowds here at Holloways Park. To the left-hand end is a small seated area and the M40, which and a line of trees. Away to the right-hand side is the shed end, as it's affectionately known.
That's the M40 there, not there.
With the change rooms. The M40 is kind of behind us, isn't it?
It's over there, isn't it?
Well, the service is over there. Okay, we're going to argue about where the M40 is. Slough in their amber shirts, navy shorts, navy socks, lined up in the right-hand half with this small but stocky figure of Luke Williams in royal blue to our right-hand side.
Yes. And Slough obviously announcing this season, this week, obviously, that next season there is a new home shirt, and there will be a new home sponsor.
Yeah, it looks a bit like Arsenal away for those of you who haven't seen it. It's on the Slough website. By all means, go and have a little look, see what it looks like for yourselves. But it does remind me of the famous Arsenal shirt that Mickey Thomas, I think, that sort of one from that famous game at Anfield when they snuck and won the league.
Yeah, it's just like yellow with a bit of blue sleeve, isn't it?
Yeah, yellow blue sleeves.
And a blue strip.
Amber, not yellow.
Amber.
Amber, don't forget it's Amber. As Truro City, dressed all in white, just come out of their huddle, and they're lining up. The two captains both wearing number 4 today, Jake Ash and Adam Fowler, making his return from his long-awaited ACL injury that's had. This is his first start for the Rebels, and hopefully he'll turn around their poor run of form, which has only seen them score in one of their last 7 matches, and in the last 3 conceded 10 and scored 0. So,
and to be honest, we've been lucky just to concede 10, I think. We've been quite poor recently.
The first halves have been reasonable, so it'd be interesting to see. And up until about the half-hour mark, if you're a Truro fan listening in, it's normally about 33, 34 minutes in the last 2 games that we conceded the first goal. So perhaps you can tune out, do some washing, maybe watch a bit of rugby or whatever you might want to do for the next half hour or so, and then come in.
What happens is at half-time, Beaconsfield spike our half-time drinks, and we come out and we play absolutely terrible.
Yeah, something might happen. We're not quite exactly sure what. It looks like the teams are staying as they are. The referee and his assistants just shaking hands. So Slough will be shooting slightly down the hill, away from the cupboard end.
Are we calling it the new shed end?
The new shed end. Away to our left-hand side is fairly empty at the moment, but we're all...
Slough look like they're going to start with a 3-0-7 formation at the moment.
No, it looks like a 3-1-6. And with obviously the news that James Dobson has departed the Rebels during the week, the management decided to make a change there. It'll be interesting to see how dead balls work. I saw George Short spending a lot of time prior to the game working on corners and some of the set pieces, but... the new debutant, Liam Malone's going to be the first person to touch the ball for Slough today. He's going to be passing it sideways to Ed Smith as Matt Corlett, the referee, just checks finally, and we're off and running. So Slough shooting from right to left. Put the ball immediately deep down into that corner, turn Truro on their heels, and it's going to be a throw.
You said it would be like the rugby, and that is literally like a rugby kick-off, isn't it? Playing for position.
It is. It was very much a territorial kick. If you join us for the first time, we are both novices. We're both enthusiastic commentators and supporters of Slough.
Well, you might be.
I
think I'm
You're
just
less enthusiastic.
I'm just biased.
As an early free kick, they're awarded for a foul on Rob Farkins at the back. Will give Truro the opportunity to give Tom McHale the first kick of the ball from a dead ball situation inside his own half. He's just looking to see where he's going to place the ball and kick it, and Slough retreating slightly in their own half. We're just situated slightly in the half that Slough are defending on the far side from the dugouts and the camera that's filming us. As a slightly high foot there from Jamie McClure wins almost another free kick after a strong header by Rhys York at the back, but it's once again captain Jake Ash who's involved early on, and he was just ducking down slightly, and the short figure of Jamie McClure's conceded.
He's just bent over, and you can see the labelling. He's got blue underpants on, and you can see the white label of his shorts.
And the few Truro fans away to our right-hand side behind Luke Williams' goal start to make a bit of noise, but this is going to be the first dead ball situation where Truro City are going to be able to pump the ball into the edge of the 18-yard box. It's midway inside the Slough half, right of centre.
They're quite a tall team as well, aren't they?
And they are a big physical side, so it just looks to be as if they're going to aim it towards that far side, towards the Berger van centre. So it's curled across. It's gone through a crowd of players. It's headed away initially, and then Jamie McClure wins the ball well and seemed to go strong. Some physical challenges already in there. There's a lot of encouragement, and Scott Harris getting stuck in as George Short calms things down, passes the ball out to the left back. Ryan Parsons looks up the line and plays a long ball up to Ed Smith. Ed Smith controlled it well, played it off to Scott Harris. Scott Harris returns the favour. Ed Smith advances towards the edge of the left-hand edge of the box, cuts back, slows it down. Left back Ryan Parsons attacking. Plays it into Ed Smith, 30 yards from goal, going across the pitch laterally, out to right wing back Sean Fraser, crosses the ball in, well blocked by Truro, struggling to get out at the moment. Slough started this first couple of minutes quite well. Sean Fraser now retreating towards the halfway line, tries to play a 1-2 with George Short, misplaced from Short though, and now Truro will have the opportunity to turn and to push a bit of power, and Fowler's first combination in the game is
Liam
to
Malone's
put a
just done a
strong
good tackle
on right, and Slough once again now looking to have started brightly as it's Ryan Parsons advancing, ball at his feet over the halfway line, running at white, cuts inside, plays it off sideways, a horrible ball there to McClure, but it's Slough still attacking as Malone's on the ball, plays it out to left back Parsons who's been heavily involved, an overhead kick clearance by Cody Cook, and it's a Slough throw in, and we've played 3 minutes and it's been breathless.
Well, I don't know about breathless, but it's certainly a little bit more entertaining than some previous games at Slough. But they do start that way, don't we? We tend to start well for the first 15 minutes
and run out of puff.
Miss a couple of good chances, and then from then on it's all downhill.
If you do want to contact us at any time during the match, please do so at MyFC Rebels Radio. Is probably the best way to do it through Twitter. Let us know where you're watching it, what's happening, Any exciting recent news about going on in any of your lives? I know, obviously, Truro City, there was a big meeting at the Cornish Council this week regarding the plans for grounds, Silverbow versus the potential Cornish Pirates stadium development proposal. So it's a similar situation as Slough. Slough probably don't have two competing bids for a stadium in their local area, but both of these teams are looking to perhaps move to better locations and better facilities in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I think both teams will benefit from that as well. Truro's, we went down there earlier this season, lovely ground. We had some fun with Mick down there, didn't we?
We did, him trying to get up on the gantry to do commentary as Ryan Parsons picks up the ball on the halfway line again. Truro, just perhaps the journey's taken some of their legs at the moment, but they're having to find themselves defending a little bit more in these first 4 or 5 minutes. But a positive start from the Rebels, and they certainly seem to be energised from the start. But Truro, standing in a strong, heady position and looking for playoff football, will be trying to make the most of it as Fraser combines there well with McClurg, who seemed to get hit quite hard on the back on the halfway line. And then as Billy Jeffries wins the ball at the back and plays the ball into the corner, and it's now Harris up against the big figure of Pugh on 14 bookings. He doesn't want to get another one, he'll be suspended, and he's ushered the ball out on the far corner behind for a goal kick, which McHale will take. So how have you been this week, Adrian?
Yeah, not too bad. Could be sunnier. It's a bit cold today.
It is. We've got the heater on. The heater is on in our little press box in Holloways Park in the stand. If you are here or if you're in the vicinity, please do bring us a cake or something, because Adrian's wasting away.
I think I could do with wasting away, actually.
You could do. You could do. Probably that is very true. And there is a good number. I can see at least 2 of the Cornish flags away to our left-hand side, and I think there may have been some cider or ale drunk, because they sound in good voice as Parsons once again set away down the left-hand side, looking to deliver a ball crossfield deep into the box, headed away well by the tall figure of Pugh, and then volleyed away further, and Truro clear their lines, well controlled by Wright on the halfway line.
Billy Jeffries has just got caught as he tackled.
Billy Jeffries is down early on the halfway line. He's rolling around. The referee's keeping an eye on it, but Truro continues to play. I don't think that was deliberately played out. It was a poor execution there on the near side by Shane White, but Billy Jeffries is hobbling and limping around.
Reece Short's just had a little come together with Cody Cook there, just pushed him off the ball and gave him a look. It's going to be quite a feisty game today, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, I think this is going to be a physical battle, don't you think? As it's great to hear such good vocal away support, isn't it?
It is.
I'm really loving it. I'm loving the Cornish passion that they have. They've travelled an awful way, a long way up here. It must have been at least 4 or 5 hours for nearly all of them, and it's fantastic to have you along. And any of you who haven't been able to make that trip up the M5, I hope you're enjoying it. At the moment, we've played about 6 minutes. It remains goalless at the moment. Slough centre back, and Billy Jeffries is down just inside his own half, getting treatment from the physio Super Kev. The referee in close attendance, and we're just waiting for the game to get underway. Slough probably had the better of the opening 5 minutes or so. They've played more of the ball down in the Truro half, and Ryan Parsons, particularly down the left in the left wing back formation, has been pushing on and causing a little bit of problems to Truro. But they're just going to have this opportunity. This break may suit Truro just to get aware of the situation and kind of readjust to Slough's formation there. Slough seemingly playing a 3-5-2 formation with 2 wing backs pushing on, 3 centre backs with Captain Fowler in the middle of the injured figure of Billy Jeffries, who's just making his way to his feet, to the right of him, and the no-nonsense Reece Short to the left-hand side of him, and then left wing back Ryan Parsons, right wing back Sean Fraser, McClurg, Short and Malone in the middle, and then the combination of Harris and Ed Smith up front. And we're back underway, thrown up towards Harris, and it's ball spending a lot of time in the air. Short flicks it on and has one for Ed Smith to chase round Pugh, and out comes McHale, no nonsense for him, bowls it out immediately down the left and sets Greenslade on his way.
Yeah, and like we say, very tall team and strong team of Truro, and they've done well, just won the ball there, and Fowler's just caught Right seems to be on the end of a few bruising tackles these first 5 minutes. And he's just gone in on Billy Jeffries with a karate kick.
And then Fowler just won the ball there, and I would have thought that would have either been a corner or potentially a foul, a penalty, but nothing doing there, and a little bit harum-scarum, a few signs that Slough aren't quite at the races just yet.
Wright's just got a bit of a kick in twice, and he's given one out, and he's just complaining to the referee that's gone caught on his arm. He's holding his right arm near the elbow.
Yeah,
so the referee's done well to let the challenges go, but I think he's got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I think the referee needs to punish any kind of people who severely bounce it. As Reshaw just nearly gets caught out by the bounce of the ball and then gives the ball away, and it's going to be an opportunity for Vassell driving into the box 1-on-1, and he puts it well spotted there by Williams. He should have done better. He should have put Truro City 1-0 ahead, but Truro still on the attack, and it's right edge of the box, drives one in, and it bobbles just in front of Williams. He does well to gather it, but that is two good opportunities within the space of 30 seconds. And initially, it was Reshaw's misjudgment of a ball bouncing in the centre circle that put Vassell away in a load of space. Yeah,
and he was clear 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. He's put it too close to Luke Williams. You would have think he'll be disappointed with that. He should have put that further into the corner, and Truro should in theory be one up, but they've not taken the chance and Slough get a let off.
Yeah, and Wright as well, I think, will be disappointed with a follow-up. He had an opportunity there to do it, but it'll give Truro some hope, and I think this break may have just benefited them slightly. We can see Steve Tully on the far side just making his thoughts and feelings known as Truro now in the Slough half, trying to push forward. And again, there was a little bit of connection there, and the referee spotted this one as Wright just left something on Jeffrey there as he was just clearing the ball, and I think this is not going to be a game for the faint-hearted.
No, and it would be interesting to see if there's any cards coming out today. He's letting it go at the moment, but they are some feisty old tackles. Slough picking a team maybe
a combative team.
Yeah, combat against the physical side of Truro.
Yeah, and I would think what you'd hope from the referee is that he remains this consistent through the game, and that once one card comes out, he doesn't start flourishing them like a magician doing a magic trick. As Reshaw deals better with a bouncing ball this time, heads it onto Parsons, who tries to flick the ball down the line. It doesn't come off, so Truro will have the opportunity to have a throw in. Right back position, and they're looking to clear the ball long. It's at Vassell's feet, just inside the Slough half. He runs up against York, and then York plays the ball off him, and then Yorkie hooks the ball down the line. The ball is spending an awful lot of time in the air. This isn't one for the purists, as Malone wins a header against someone much taller than him, flicks it on, and Ed Smith's offside down the far left-hand side, and the play will be underway. We're 10 minutes in. It's goalless here. One real good clear chance on goal, and that fell to Vassell after Reshaw's mistake. And he should have done better. He should have put the White Tigers 1-0 up, but he didn't quite manage it, did he?
No, and the Slough fans being very quiet today behind the goal.
Yeah, once again,
even with that new stand, they're all still standing in the same places that they've stood for the last few seasons, and they just a bit like the Truro fans are all grouped together in a little spot in that main stand, making a lot of noise, and the Slough fans are too spread out.
As George Short wins the ball well in midfield, puts the ball forward, Edge Smith controls it well on the edge of the box, spins, turns, left-footed volley, but it's not got much power in it. It's a powder puff, and it's straight into the arms of Tom McHale, who clears the ball and bowls it out down to the right back of Shane White. And then Reshaw wins the ball well ahead of Vassell. Quick tempo there by Darren Green to get the ball back into play, and he's up on the header against Malone. And this is a real battle out there in the first 10 minutes, deep inside the Slough half still, and it's Truro trying to battle well, but Reshaw's headed the ball up to the halfway line, up to Harris, and Harris taking a couple of touches on this difficult surface, get it under control. Now McClurg plays the ball down the line. Ed Smith was in an offside position coming back, and once again it's going all the way through to McHale. So a little bit of a lack of quality, but I think it's not to be unexpected as Truro look for a long diagonal ball, and it's slightly misguided, has Wright scampering after it towards the Slough dugout, just in the side the Slough half, does well to keep it in. Plays it back to Greenslade on the halfway line, inside. Greenslade gets the ball back. Truro happy to try and build, but now they play again a long ball forward, and Wright's picked it up well, but a good challenge coming across from Billy Jeffries, who just left a little bit on Wright there in retaliation, I think, for the earlier challenge.
Yep, and then the ball played through there by White, straight through to the keeper. We've got to say the two centre-backs for Truro, which is Farkins and Pugh today, are they're winning a lot of the balls against
they're huge,
Harris,
though, aren't they? Let's be fair. They're big. They're big players. As Farkins wins that one, and this time Pugh goes straight through the back of Ed Smith, probably 35 yards from goal. Centre of Ed Smith just gets up in wearing his number 10 shirt, holds his head, and Pugh then goes immediately over to follow him again.
Do you think Ed's a bit jealous of Tom McHale for his ginger hair?
Yeah, it could be,
because he has a fine set of ginger hair, McHale.
He does have. But the result is that Slough will have a free kick, a direct free kick, fully 35 yards from goal, just left of centre. McClurg stood over it right-footed. There's a number of the Slough bigger players gone forward. Reece York's gone forward, as has captain Adam Fowler.
Would this have been Dobbo shooting territory?
I think previously it may have been Dobbo shooting territory, but I think there's going to be curled and it's played short, and it's an awful free kick. Try to play it short, and Malone's at back, and he's at risk of being outpaced by Vassell. Vassell's driving towards the byline. He fires across, but it's too deep and too far ahead of ahead of the attacker of right, but danger there for Slough, who were the masters of their own downfall. They're rather overcomplicated. McClure tried to be a bit cute, play the ball out to left back Ryan Parsons, and it didn't work.
It's not the kind of free kick you want to play on this pitch here at Holloways.
And in particular with recent circumstances and, trying to put pressure, trying to perhaps snatch a goal from somewhere to boost the confidence.
I can understand not whipping the ball in because obviously there's a lot of height in the Truro City, but maybe have a shot on target at least. But Vassell had a good chance to come through, outpaced Malone, but poor ball going forwards. And Fowler wins the ball. It's out to Ryan Parsons, who flicks it on to McClurg in the centre of midfield. He's tackled well by the captain Ash. Play ball forwards, and Malone wins a header. But again, it's Truro City in the midfield, winning the ball back. Out to the right back, White. Into the captain Ash, who does well to turn. McClurg's chasing him down. Slough putting some pressure on. But Truro's little ball down the line, and Reshawk's got to clear that one. And again, Farkins first to the ball again.
And Reshawk heads the ball away. It's a lot of head tennis going on. Finally, someone gets it on the ground, but Reshawk comes through the back of Vassell, wins the ball strongly, and then plays it off White. It's ricocheted in, and White's going to have an opportunity to deliver the ball into the box. Fowler has to readjust, clears it out as far as he can, but it's still Vassell using his strength. But I don't think that was a foul.
That's not a foul at all.
Vassell just used his bottom to fend off Ryan Parsons and used his strength, and Slough awarded a rather soft free kick. Bit of a get out of jail there, because
especially when you think some of the tackles that have gone in today and that the referee hasn't actually picked up on. That's a very soft free kick.
Poole have taken an early lead today on the road at Dunstable, which isn't a surprise. Dunstable in a
so it's another 8 goals in that game, is it? Terrible
run of form at the moment. Long clearance from Williams, and then Scott Harris and Farkin are having a little bit of a wrestle there, and there's a little bit of afters there as Farkin, who's quite a bit taller than Harris, just has a little push back, and the referee's just going to calm them down.
Bit of like arm wrestling in the box there.
Arm wrestling. Okay,
arm
good.
Wrestling. Get your hearing tested.
Pardon? Do you like what? No, okay, we won't go there. As it's going to be a free kick for Tom McHale to take. We've played 15 minutes at Holloways Park, and the sun's just going down a little bit. It's a little bit more cloud overcast here, but it's good dry conditions. Still goalless. Looking for the first.
Great header by Fowler.
Fowler reminds us of times of old. Wins the first ball well, and then gets levered off it by Wright, but he's well up for the battle. The ball's still deep in the Slough final third though, and it's Vassell picks up the ball, edge of the box. He's going to drive. He's going to try and cross it. Repelled by York. There'll be an opportunity for Slough to try and defend a throw-in now from Truro City, but Truro attacking well.
Yeah, and the main thing is that Truro are winning the seconds of the balls.
The seconds of the balls.
Every time that ball comes back out from the headers, the first team to it are Truro, and I've got to say the two in centre of mid. Well, I think 3 almost playing in centre of midfield, which is Ash, Crack, and I can't think of the other guy's name. Who am I missing?
Sorry, say that again.
Green. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the names there. The 3 of them are winning all the second balls at the moment, and Slough aren't getting into the game.
Yeah, and once again, Farkin wins the ball above Scott Harris in there, and it's there's some real battles going on out there. There's going to be a few players who wake up tomorrow morning know they've played a game today, as Parsons fires the ball down the line, and Scott Harris once again gets beaten in the air, but then there's an agricultural ball direct forward, and Fowler showing good strength, and I think he's just caught right there. Wright's just caught. He's holding his face slightly, not intentionally or not a dirty tackle, but I think he might have just hit Fowler's shoulder. Fowler attacked that ball as ball's back with Billy Jeffries, plays the ball up the line to Ed Smith, flicks it on. Scott Harris, I think, was in an offside position, but nothing given, and he's played a 1-2, and Ed Smith's going to hook the ball into the box. Well cleared though, left-footed by White, out as far as Malone, whose first time ball doesn't get past White again, and it's Ash that time who helps him on his way.
Good header there by Wright.
And Wright is in amongst it everywhere, isn't he, within these first 15-20 minutes?
He will definitely know that he's been in a game of football tomorrow morning.
And the ball is spending an awful lot of time bouncing around in this firm Holloways pitch as Ash just hooks that ball away. Now Short has judged to a foul on Right there, so alleviate the Truro City play, but we have played 18 minutes here, still remains goalless. And the game yet to settle, and the Truro fans are still in fine voice.
Yep, they are indeed. They've only got to wait 15 minutes for a Truro goal, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, if your golden goal is around 30-35, based upon recent performances, Slough will run out of puff about in about 10-15 minutes. As Adam Martins, you can see, stood next to the Slough dugout on the far right-hand side, wearing some sort of odd tea cosy on his head.
He is, isn't he? It's not that cold.
I don't think it's quite that cold, but we are in a heated thing is the free kick from Truro City doesn't end up much. The ball's still in the Slough half, bouncing around, spending a lot of time in the air. George Short tries to hook it clear, but it's still headed back in by Greenslade. And now 30 yards from goal, Slough trying to clear their lines as Malone still fails as he clips the ball directly in. It plays an uncomfortable ball to Billy Jeffries, who's up and unders up towards the halfway line. But once again, Truro City winning the balls and now trying to turn Slough as Wright controls the ball into the box and now up against Fowler. Fowler's having a right old battle in there, but it's at edge of the box and it's crossed in, but it's outside all Truro City players. Ryan Parsons, left back position, going to take a couple of touches, clear the ball. It bobbled just as he hit it, and once again, he was left a little bit on there by Cody Cook down here. Who's they're all big physical specimens, aren't they? As the beautiful secretary walks past.
What, Mark Hunter?
Not that one. As sorry for that. As ball hooked forward there in the middle of midfield by Crack, but it's not so much effect, and it's out for a Slough throw deep in the far end. If you're listening to this game and thinking, well, there isn't a lot of quality, there isn't a lot of fluidity to it, you'd be bang on at the moment. It's a competitive, physical game out there, and Truro asking questions of the Slough newly formed back three, who it looked like a handball. There against Green. He certainly was ball to hand as opposed to the other way around. And if Truro score here, Slough will very much be complaining. But George Short's got an opportunity to get the ball clear, and Scott Harris now up towards the halfway line controls it. It's then hooked in field by Ryan Parsons, but once again Crack on the ball. Crack then plays a ball through in the direction of Vassell. It's over his head and all the way through to Williams, and Slough just will alleviate the pressure. Yeah,
Slough just need to, when they get the ball and get it, they're panicking, which is something that they've done quite recent, not taking their time on the ball, and that's what they need to do, is just calm themselves down and play the ball around a bit.
Scott Harris got up ahead of Park in that time from the long clearance, but it didn't have Ed Smith on quite the right wavelength, and every player in the Truro team seems to be a giant or seems to be a foot taller than their Slough equivalent. As Truro sending plenty of players forward now, have the ball, edge of the Slough box, it's chipped across in the direction of Wright. Wright tries to get ahead to it, but it's rebounded out, and two Truro players getting set of each other's way. Ash was almost on there, but it's now out with right back White. White puts it in far post in the direction of Wright. He heads it down, and it's Vassell skipped in there and put it in, and it's the goal for Truro City in the 21st minute. And that was apprehensive defending once again by Slough. Yeah,
Slough just stood there. I think they were expecting either a foul or offside. The flick on by Wright came to Vassell, and the defence stood still. And Vassell had the easy task of just going around the keeper and putting it past Luke Williams. And so it was a little bit earlier than we normally concede a goal. And you can see it's been coming, you know. They've been attacking with some pace and power.
Yeah, and Wright's been causing problems back there, and it was his downward header from the long cross in, and it just bounced in front of Williams, and Williams didn't come and attack the ball enough to grab it in his hands, and in popped the willing Vassell, who just took a touch and just calmly slotted it past him.
Yeah, and I think Slough will be disappointed that that's another poor mistake, and defensively they haven't been great recently. And this back three just didn't seem to pick the ball up.
Yeah, and as Scott Harris is called offside there, and I think it was kind of symptomatic that early Slough seemed to have some momentum, seemed to have some tempo, and then that break when Billy Jeffries went down injured did seem to take a little bit out of it, and did seem to change the flow of the game a bit. Since that point, Truro have come back into it much, much stronger, and we've played almost 22 minutes here, and it is Slough 0, Truro City 1. A Vassell goal in the 21st minute is the separating the teams, and it's a physical, competitive environment out there as George Short tries to hook the ball clear and long direct, and it has Farkin retreating. He deals with it well.
Again, it's the same thing though. You know, first thing that George is looking to do, and it's just flicking the ball into the half, and there's no kind of, you know, he's not trying to pick a player out, he's not trying to place it into a certain area, he's just booting the ball up the other end of the field, and Truro are a big strong team, and they're winning every single ball.
As George Short wins the ball in the middle of the park, but heads it down and cleared away though by White, and now Truro City attacking on the final third of Slough. Play the ball out left to Greenslade, midway inside the Slough half, plays it inside to Crack. Crack gives it back to him. Truro City quite happy now to stroke the ball away while they're deep in the Slough half, and Malone there almost taking a ride as Crack comes in field, pulls the trigger right-footed, has Williams scrambling to his right, but it's wide of the left-hand upright as we look at it, and harmlessly wide, but it just shows a little bit of the danger that Slough face.
It did, but I mean, we've got to take the positives from this. When we went down to Truro earlier in the season, Truro took the lead and were by far the better team for the first half, and and somehow Slough came away with a 2-1 victory. So all is not lost.
No, all is definitely not lost. But once again, a Truro head on that first ball and cut back there by Cook on the far side. Helped on its way up the line by Greenslade. Repelled there by Jeffries, and it's another up and under that has Jeffries, and there's a little bit going on off the ball there as Wright's run was just blocked as a long ball played forward. Ed Smith
offside.
once again offside, but at that time McHale was sharp off his line anyway. I don't think even if the referee hadn't have stopped that, McHale would have been first to that ball. But
I just wonder how long Slough will play with the three at the back at the moment, because obviously Wright and Vassell are causing danger, but what's happening is Billy Jeffries is picking up Wright, Vassell's being picked up by Reece York, and Fowler's coming in and kind of like winning the loose balls, but they're not picking up the man from midfield, and that's where they're losing it.
But isn't that the responsibility of the midfield, when you say, as George Short just got levered off that one, and that didn't seem much different to one of the earlier fouls that was given, and Fraser plays a long direct ball forward, has Farkin retreating, Ed Smith up against him, but a strong header back by Farkin, deals well, and good footballing skills by McHale, who takes it under control and then looks to try and get play underway. It's Ginger there, as Ed Smith stood up in front of him, just wondering exactly what he's doing. He's trying to do an impression of the old World Cup statue, isn't he? He's just saying, how long are you actually taking to get rid of the ball? As
and when he does boot it, he boots it quite long.
He did boot it directly and flicked on almost unchallenged there by Wright in the middle, and strong tackle there as Scott Harris was just upended slightly by the big imposing figure of Pugh, who's certainly a no-nonsense centre-back in the most sincere form. Yeah,
and we do tend to see in this league there are some good pairings at centre-back with other teams, and they're all quite strong. Slough giving away a late free kick there. Sean Fraser with a foul yet again on Wright.
Yeah, and Wright's been centre of this action during this first 25 minutes, and it was his downward header that led to the only goal of the game so far, that was eaten up at a good pace by Vassell, who just nipped in there. Sharp, natural striker's ability to kind of.
He's also a strong lad as well. When you see him close up, he's not like a flimsy
Slough
fast man.
Caught then on their heels slightly as the ball played forward from the free kick lower along the ground, and it was that man again, Vassell, there, who held off Fraser. It was one a throw on, so it's going to be a long throw on in Bergervan corner. It's going to be Greenslade to take it, throws it to Vassell's feet, gets the ball back, he's going to hit it into the box. It comes off the back of Vassell, unluckily, and out for a Slough throw. Slough will have the opportunity to clear their lines. Yeah, and obviously with Guy Hollis on the bench, they're lacking a long throw to get the ball further down the line that they normally use. Yeah, and the Slough fans away to our left-hand side look absolutely like they're in a library or dejected. There is no passion at all. There's no life there. Why are they spending £10 to come in if they just going to stand there and do nothing? Short plays a long ball forward, and it's got Ed Smith interested. He's whipping up the ground as Farkin is really slow. He gives him a little bit of a shove. Farkin does well, turns inside. Good defending there, because he's not the quickest. And he's played a direct ball forward, and now Slough are struggling, numbers on numbers. But again, it's Truro City winning the second ball. And now in the middle of midfield, it's Ash, plays the ball out right to White. But Fowler once again, leading by example, comes through the back, wins a strong header. Now it's Scott Harris who's put Ed Smith through. Ed Smith has a heavy touch, but he plays on Fraser down the right hand side. Fraser's going to look to get the ball in. He's crossed it in deep, but it's well defended by Pugh, and then helped away by Greenslade. But a corner to Slough, so Slough will have some attacking intent, and it's George Short going to be taking it. Yeah, and all three of the centre backs for Slough are going up, and Slough have got to be very careful. They're leaving three back: Malone, Ryan Parsons and Sean Fraser. So and the Truro fans are baiting the home fans, because they're saying, we forgot that you were here, which I think is probably quite apt, really. It's quite fair. It's George Short, right-footed, out-swinging corner, big mass of players towards the edge of the box. He's whipped it in low towards the front post. And a foul against Reece Short. Pugh's lying prostrate in the ground, but I think Reece Short got to the ball at the same sort of time, but he just left a little bit in there on Pugh. But referee Matt Courtler judged that it was a free kick to Truro City, so it's going to be an opportunity for McHale to clear the ball long. Yeah, and Slough got to make something out of these kind of dead ball situations that they're getting. They haven't done so yet, and although they're a big team, I think you've got to just try something a little bit different against Truro. But you're seeing that Ed's getting a little bit of when the ball's going over the top. He is a little bit quicker than the two centre backs. Yeah, but it's intelligent defending what you're seeing from the two centre backs for Truro. They might not be the quickest, but they sure know how to defend. Yes, yeah, you definitely think that they are a professional outfit. You can see why they are pushing for player footballers. Once again, they're attacking Slough here. Slough not clearing their lines well, but a first real mistake from Vassell as he stood over the ball. And now Hatchett's after this ball long, and he's just going to wait. He's going to go clattering potentially into McHale. Just pulls out of it as McHale just escorted that ball back into the box until he could safely pick it up in his arms. And McHale's still wasting a little bit of time in these the first half hour or so.
But he hasn't had a lot to do, has he, the Truro goalkeeper?
As then Short and Reshawk nearly bashed into one another, as not good communication there from Slough as 2 or 3 players get involved, and Malone needs to get stuck in there, and it's clipped forward there well down the line by Cook, and now Vassell's going to pick it up right hand corner of the pitch. Reshawk in attention, and he tries to cut it round Reshawk. Reshawk smashed up in the air. Scott Harris gets studs to it, but not a lot else as Truro playing the ball up in the air, and once again Vassell tries to keep it in. It nearly collides and goes over the fence, but Truro just seems to have that little bit more heart, don't they, at the moment?
Yeah, they're obviously boosted by the fact that they're 1-0 up, but they started the game in a very aggressive fashion, and they're really kind of dominating most of the play.
Yeah, as I would say, I think Slough probably edged the first 5-10 minutes or so, but then once that injury happened to Billy Jeffries and just changed, allowed Truro slightly to regroup. You could see Steve Tully just having a few words there, as there seemed to be a foul there and a kickback from Cook on York, and York and Cook are now looking at each other. The referee Matt Corlett's in very close attendance to that because it could have easily escalated there.
Yeah, ball's played forward as well. Scott Harris is offside.
Once again offside. So one of the lessons is that Truro are playing an extremely high line, aren't they? So if one of the midfield players could time their run well, through from
that's the problem. Is obviously it's quite a new midfield with the fact that we're playing a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, whichever way you like to pronounce. Obviously Malone making his debut, and also we're missing the creativity that Dobson gave us, and also the fact that Jake Parsons is on the bench. So there's no one at the moment who's actually helping the front 2 out.
No. And for Truro, it's almost looked like they've got a little bit of a diamond going on in midfield, haven't they? With Cook at the head of it, just behind the front 2. On the right hand side, you've got Green, and then you've got Ash acting as perhaps the fulcrum, and then
Crack is the one that seems to be picking up all the loose balls.
Slightly on the left hand side of the 3, as you'd say it. But it's certainly working out well for them. But Slough, for once, deep in the Truro City half, as they've won a throw in, this allows them to get their backs up to the halfway line. Sean Fraser eagerly sprints to go and get the ball. They've got a free kick in line with the edge of the 18-yard box, sending a few tall players forward, but I don't think height is going to win it for you today in there, George, as Sean Fraser just holding on to the ball still, looking for options. There isn't anyone really moving. He's getting frustrated. He's got to throw the ball. He throws it into Scott Harris, who's heavy touch, gives it away immediately, and Truro City fire the ball up to the halfway line. Reshawk up against Vassell, and Vassell used his strength. York used his strength well. It's back with Williams. Williams clears the ball high and direct. Ed Smith looking to hunt it down Farkin, but Farkin wins the ball, and then it's in the middle.
Malone's
of the midfield.
Just caught Ash again.
Yeah, Ash in the middle of that. Ash has been quite quiet again. He's a player who's known his way into the referee's book this season. He's been booked a fair few times, but as yet not today. There's been no activity from either side in terms of the bookings. I don't think there's really been a bad challenge in the game as yet. Do you think?
There've been some hard fair tackles, I think you'd say, but
it's a physical game today. As we've played nearly 32 minutes, it remains Slough 0, Truro City 1. A 21st minute. Goal from Isaac Vassell is the difference between the two teams, and long ball played forward in the direction of right, but well won there by York, and it's going to be hooked away by Parsons, but he's a little bit sloppy there, slow on his heels, and it's Ash in the middle of midfield, picks the ball up, but Scott Harris leaning on him, putting a bit of pressure, but Truro managed to bang the ball in towards the edge of the box, and it's bouncing around there, and Reshawk gets a little bit on it. McClurg back there helping out, flicks the ball to Ryan Parsons up the line, and Scott Harris trying to lever Ash off the ball. It's all very physical off there, and now Parsons on his bottom. It's real ugly football at the moment. It's pinball out there at the moment, isn't it? Slough win it in the middle of midfield. McClurg got it, but he's immediately pressed there by Dan Green. Out to Billy Jeffries, plays it along the floor to Tom Moran. Tom Moran getting shoved off the ball.
Tom Moran,
sorry. Not Tom Moran.
Sean Fraser, they're like 6 foot difference in height. How did you get them two?
I was thinking Tom Moran would probably be having a good game up against some of these big physical specimens, and it was just in my head. But Slough have got a free kick on the halfway line. Apologies.
I wouldn't mind, but Tom Moran's not even here today.
We'll try and give some accurate feedback for scores. Bideford apparently have gone a goal to the good up against Histon. And it was when we were at Bideford that some of those banned Truro fans were allowed into the game. Do you remember that?
I do indeed.
They were invited by the by the Bideford players as a long ball forward played into the box, and it's taken at the second attempt.
Bit of a basketball catch.
Bit of a basketball catch there by McHale off the House of Fraser, but immediately the hands of Fraser, not the House of Fraser, that would have been different. As Malone's the furthest player back for Slough, tries to head it away, and Wright and York battling for the ball. York just hooks it simply.
But look, again, it's Jake Ash winning the ball, first player to the ball in the centre midfield.
And again, Ash, 30 yards from goal, dead centre, looking to play a pass. He plays to play a shot. It's Malone who blocks it and picks it up well.
And terrible clearance
is poor. And then
Fowler's just been caught. And
Fowler's caught, and that was a nasty little challenge by Vassell. He left his foot up there. And
he's getting up.
It's a worry for Fowler, but that was a naughty one. It was one of those slightly dirty tackles where he held his foot probably a foot off the ground, just at where he was kicking it. And it could be one of those that smash it, but Fowler just limping slightly. I think it caught his left shin, and it's always a bit of a worry. As what are you pointing at now? Oh, you're pointing at some of the fans. That poor clearance this time by Williams. We've played 33 minutes, and Vassell now getting involved with Billy Jeffries, and now Fowler comes across well, but it's ricocheted out through to the figure of Green, who pulls his shot wide, but a slight opportunity for Truro. Truro look the more likely to be troubling the scorers next, don't they?
They do indeed, and Slough have got a massive gap between the front two of Harris and Smith, and then the midfield, and there's nobody coming forward and helping them out, and every time that the ball goes forward, and the midfield of Truro picking it up, and Slough maybe need to change either their formation or maybe just give someone a different directive of what to do.
Don't you think that's a little bit early to be saying that? I mean, I think we just need to perhaps stick to one formation for a little while and kind of go for it and try and bed it in.
No, we're 1-0 down and we've had one shot off target, so this formation at the moment isn't working.
But do we think there's going to be a better alternative at some point during this game particularly, or are we going to be looking at, a longer term perspective that actually today is today and this is 90 minutes, but actually we need to build for the next few weeks and the remainder of the season?
Well, I don't think the fans would like that. I think the fans would like to see Slough at least score a goal.
Yeah.
That would be the main thing on their wish list today.
But in terms of the longer term objectives of the team,
I don't think fans look at that though, do they?
No, I know they don't.
I know what you're saying, but fans don't look at the long term objective of next season.
But I may be just trying to give some balance to why it may look as it is from the outside, that actually, persisting with something.
And does Wales won the ball
as the long free kick came in there, and it was Ash who picked up the bounces after Greenslade had put a free kick deep into the Slough box. It was headed down again by Truro City, and first of all was Ash, but his touch was heavy, and it's a goal kick to Slough. But yes, no, it's an interesting thought, an interesting conundrum, particularly where on the bench today you've got some different attacking options in Henry, Gockman and Parsons. It may be after 60 minutes when some of the new returning players start losing a little bit of their legs that actually Slough perhaps chase this game a little bit more. But I think probably 35 minutes in, it's a little bit early to say, but I think Slough would be happy perhaps to keep this 1-0 to half time and then try and reassess and rejudge where they're at.
Well, you could be right, but it hasn't worked for us in the last few games.
No, but that looked like a handball from Fowler, but it's ricocheted through to right down the left-hand side for Truro City, attacking deep into the edge of the box now. He's cut back inside on his right foot, just ball at his feet, out to the left back of Greenslade, back down the line to right. On the far left-hand side, back to Greenslade. Truro happy to play in and around the edge. Good run from the back from Crack, who's now up towards the byline, and McClurg snipping away at his heels, trying to get stuck in there, and then a strong, wild, slashing clearance there by Fowler goes out, and it's a Truro City corner.
But for me there, I mean, the work of Matt Wright up front for Truro, he won the ball on the far side, and he didn't panic, he held the ball up, he kept it, made an option once he played the ball off to get the ball back. And Slough, the difference is when they get the ball, they just panic.
And that's, I don't think, anything to do with the capabilities of the players. I think it's probably what's going on in between their ears as the ball's hooked in dangerously.
Williams was
nowhere, and thankfully Harris has hooked the ball clear, and he's going to be battling up against Farkin on this near side, against Pugh, and he's won it well and cleared it up, but it's still going to be returned all for the endeavour, and it's a real up and under there from White, and White's hooked the ball through, and now it's Ash in the middle of midfield battling away. Truro penning Slough back in, and a ball into the corner has Vassell free. He's going to cross the ball in. Truro asking lots and lots of questions to Slough, and Fowler's stayed down after that challenge, and it looked relatively innocuous, but I'm a bit worried about here. And immediately
they're calling Billy Jeffries was panicking a little bit,
And yeah, he's just still over on his haunches. And Fowler, I think the adrenaline's pumping. He wants to get on with the game. But this is his first game back, and he's holding his bad knee. And he's now going to sit down. This could be devastation. And what the management team look worried already. Guy Hollis is warming himself up as a.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Jeffries immediately called the trainer on there. He could see that it was the knee that obviously Bowser's come back from the injury from. Yes. And you always worry about that kind of. It's a nasty injury, and you know you don't want to rush a player back. But Bowser's down, and yeah, they're subbing him.
Fowler's going to play no more part. So his return to the team paid no more than
absolutely fuming. He can't believe it's. We don't know how bad the injury is, but he is absolutely fuming.
He's taking his shirt off already, and he's walking behind the goal to Luke Williams, and he's going to go straight into the dugout.
There's not even a round of applause from the Slough fans at the far end.
I think that's disgusting, if I'm honest. I hate to say it. Thankfully, these players, the fans near us have noticed and have done it. But what personal devastation!
Fowler's walking round to the bench, so he's not going straight in the dressing room. So hopefully, it's just a precautionary substitution.
I wouldn't have thought Kev would have taken any risk there, but on comes Guy Hollis. So Hollis, after being dropped from last week's performance, is put straight back in the middle of the back three, and Adam Fowler making his way forward. He looks distraught. I'm not sure whether he's distraught at the decision or anything like that, but it was interesting. During that short break, John Underwood, the bald Slough Town joint manager, just had a few words for Ed Smith, and Ed Smith was in close consideration as the substitute happened in the 38th minute. It's still Slough 0, Truro City 1. Truro very much dominant in terms of both probably possession and threat, as Hollis gets his first touch of the ball to try and ricochet after George Short lost the ball badly in midfield, and it's Crack advancing down the left hand side, left back Greenslade overlapping, but Crack's pulled back.
A great run into the centre by Wright.
And Wright's attacking him, but York does well, flicks the ball out, but it will be a corner.
No, it's a
corner. It's a corner.
No, the linesman's actually given.
I know, that's why I'm going with what the referee's given. He's not in charge.
Because Wright was absolutely
Wright was furious because the linesman's the linesman or referee's assistant had said it was a goal kick, but the referee overruled, and it was the right decision in my eyes, and it was a corner. But Slough looking to hang on. They've been unsettled here with 5 minutes to go to half time. They trail by a goal to 0. They've lost their influential captain on his return from ACL injury after 38 minutes, and they're now facing pressure from a big physical Truro City fan as the ball's drifting.
How did that go wide? Had
a touch off Farkins and just bobbled centimetres wide of the far post as it bounced around came off his thigh or his leg, or it might have even been his standing leg, as the sun just shines through slightly. But once again, the Slough fans are just, I know the team need to inspire them, but at the same time you need something back, don't you?
You do.
And so far, for the second week in a row, you've got to say it's disappointing, isn't it?
It is, and they're not, like we said, they should be grouped together and making some noise underneath that.
I mean, they've been moaning for whenever they go to an away game. They moan that there's no covers. Whenever for years and years and years here, while unfortunately they're still homeless at Beaconsfield, been moaning about not having anywhere to congregate and to make noise. And there's a number of Slough fans sitting down there, and it's just very quiet. Slough attacking down the far side, but once again give the ball away cheaply, just lacking an awful lot of confidence out there, as Ryan Parsons has the ball midway inside the Truro City half, left of centre, just steps on the ball, gives it inside to Malone, making his debut, clips it over to Sean Fraser. Fraser controls it well. Slough best spell of possession for a little while. Harris down in that far right hand side trying to hold it in, and it's a throw into Slough.
To be honest, it looked like it did actually come off Scott Harris, but the referee's assistant claims it's a throw in for Slough. And of course now Guy Hollis is on the pitch. You'll expect a long throw into the box.
Yeah, so Guy Hollis making his way forward, and Malone, Fraser and Parsons, the three players guiding Wright and Vassell at the back. But Hollis leans back against the wall, fires the ball in towards the edge of the box in the direction of York, but that's simple for Pugh. Falls to McClurg, whose volley is blocked and now cleared by Crack in towards the feet of Wright, up against Fraser. And Fraser's just had a clip at him just to stop play and stop with the men, which I think is probably the right sensible thing to do, and it's directly in front of the
sun's coming out into our eyes again.
The sun started to blow at us as the sun's breaking through the clouded afternoon. It's a gorgeous, if cool day here at Holloways as we enter the final 2 or 3 minutes of this first half. Hope you're enjoying the commentary. Please do let us know if there's anything we're missing, or if there's anything you want more of, less of, as we're creeping towards halfway, and still Truro
So
attacking.
right
It's
on the
right on the
far
far side, drives one across. Luke Knight gathers, otherwise it would have been easy for me. And Vassell almost got in the way of that throw there and blocked it, but Parsons up towards the halfway line, plays the ball into Harris's feet. It's lucky that it comes back to Slough. They're just about scrambling every time they hold possession. They're just lacking composure, as you say, Adrian, at the moment. And Vassell's now picked up the ball. Good solid touch. Tries to go up against York. York's strong tackle. And York's not happy about that particularly. He felt that it was going to be a throw to Slough, but it's a Slough. Slough once again.
You can see that Truro are playing with a lot of confidence. You know, they're a good team, and that they're not afraid. They know what they're doing. And Slough, just on the other hand, just aren't playing with any confidence and lacking, like you say, composure. And it shows big time.
Yeah, and I think it's, as I said, it's very reminiscent of that period, December into January 2013, into 2014, as Scott Harris wins the ball, sets away Ryan Parsons. Ryan Parsons going to do well to keep this in. He's scrambled down the left-hand wing. He's in the corner. He's firing it across. It's deep, but it's too close to McHale. McHale collided with his own central defender of Pugh, and
don't want to be doing that, would you? Blimey.
No, and he's got the ball as he's holding it in one arm, as Scott Harris just next to him, just looking to try and help him hurry it up a little bit, as he finally clears the ball out, and it doesn't look like it's the greatest kick, but it's to Wright's feet, and Wright gets it under control, and Billy Jeffries Wright that time went down quite easily for the first time this match, and Scott Harris just coming back from an offside position as the ball's all the way through to Green.
And you can just see the way that Truro play. They're looking for Sale on the break. That's a handball.
As the linesman got that one right this time, and the referee trusted
he's got it wrong, because it was a handball by a Slough player.
I thought it was a handball by Hollis, yeah.
And he's given it as a free kick to Slough for some reason.
So we're happy with that. As the sun starts to shine a little bit lower into our eyes, it's just getting that little bit lower. We're going into the final minute of the first half, one that Truro City will be very happy with. They're on target to get 3 points here today, as I'm sure is their desire. Steve Tully's targeted this game and their Chippenham game next week. He'd say for their playoff ambitions, they need to perhaps get 4 points out the available 6, and at the moment they're on track to get 3 of those. As the ball's ricocheted back deep into the Slough half, Billy Jeffries clears the ball long. It's over the Ginger Ed Smith, who's just still getting frustrated and battling away. Again, another handball, this time against Wright. How's your handball count?
That was handball against George Short.
Against George Short, but
George Short handballed it, and he's given it as a free.
Perhaps if you handle it, he'll give you a free kick in your direction. It seems to be at the moment.
Yeah.
As a touch from Jamie McClure trying to get forward, interacting with Ed Smith up there, but it's cleared by Truro City. Heavy touch there by Parsons, but thankfully Rhys York is there to cover it up. Passes it all the way back to Williams, who's taken a couple of touches, gets the ball back at his feet. Not sure he really wanted it there, but Rhys York will now look to play a long diagonal ball down the line, and Farkins rises well. Parsons now heads the ball on. Head tennis is the order of the day up here, as Pugh seemed to be all over Ed Smith. Then Captain Ash
quality by Ash
takes quality, heads it back from all of 25 yards, and just alleviates the pressure as we're in the first minute of injury time.
It just shows you what the kind of play that maybe Slough need. I know I'm not saying that we would go and get Ash, but he's just commanding. He knows what he's doing. He's solid, and he's organising the team. And he's, Slough are lacking that at the moment. And Ash is the kind of player that Slough must be need at the moment. As Hatchett goes in for a tackle there. He's just holding his leg there. And Hollis heads the ball out on the far hand side. And it's going to be a throw for Truro City, just on the edge with the Slough penalty area on the near hand side. White is going forwards to take it. Yeah, I think just waiting for a ball, maybe. Here
it comes. But Slough just hoping to keep Truro out for the final couple of minutes of this half, as it looks as if Green is just having a little word with the referee. Not quite sure what about, but Green's just having a little chat and a little word as he's cutting back in. He's boxing clever around Malone. He's cut away well, and it's through to Ash. And Ash has fired a ball with a lot of pace across. It looked like Wright handballed it to get it under control. He's facing away from goal in the penalty area. He tries to swivel on through, blocked by Rhys York. Truro still asking all sorts of questions, but that is half time. 46 minutes played in the first half, but it took Truro City 21 to get on the goal on the score sheet, with Vassell scoring in the 21st minute is the only difference between this side, and Vassell's gone over to the referee to have words. I'm not quite sure what about. Maybe
some of the tackling and stuff that's a bit feisty in this first half, but
I think it's 6 to 1 and a half.
Stewards are on the pitch guarding the referee for some reason. I don't think that's needed.
But I just think it's probably protocol in this day and age. We'll come back in 10 minutes or so. We'll leave you with the interview that I conducted with Neil Baker earlier in this week, talking about the squad, talking about how it's going to be moving forward and what his hopes were for this game. So we'll leave you with that, and we'll come back to you in the second half. But the half-time score here at Holloways is Slough Town 0, Truro City 1, and we'll be back in 10 minutes or so. Hello, and welcome to Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough Joint Manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Good, John. Good evening.
Good evening to you too. How now, later in the week? Thursday, are you feeling, looking back at the Cambridge City match?
Yeah, don't really want to harp on about it. Everyone knows our feelings. Very disappointed, more so with the second half performance again. Very similar to Redditch away. So bitterly disappointed with the result and performance. And
is it your toughest time in management?
No, definitely not. I mean, it's, we've lost 3 games on a bounce. We'd won 1 prior to that. So when myself and John first joined Godalming, we inherited a side that was pretty much everyone wanted to leave with the manager, and we had to, pretty much throughout that season just get a side out to try and fulfil the fixtures, and that was tough. But we then put a side together, and the rest is history as such.
How does it compare to when you commenced your role in the Slough?
Listen, all it is a bit disappointing, but two bad performances. Maybe I'd say in the 3 games, 3 halves are poor. First half at Chippenham wasn't bad. First half at Redditch wasn't bad. First half against Cambridge wasn't bad. So we've had 3 poor halves of football in the last 3 weeks. That's a disappointment. The problem is when you're playing Saturday, you don't get the chance to rectify it on the Tuesday. So, we're really disappointed with those performances. But we are in a tough league. It is a tough league, and we are. You're getting used to it, and you know that every game's going to be difficult, and we just haven't played very well.
So you talk about not having games coming quick and fast.
Yep.
What have you done during this 7 days?
This week we've trained a couple of times. We've trained up Hayes and Yedin. We played a sort of in-house game. We looked at players as well. That was good workout on Tuesday, and then we've been up at the Polish club tonight and had a really good session tonight. I mean, the surface over there is not good at all. It's really hard. It's really bobbly. But we, as we said, it makes when we go to Holloways Park the pitch look decent. Because obviously the pitches are drying out, and it does get, it's getting harder to play football on. So it does gear them up to Saturday, should we say? But good session.
How was the morale in the camp?
Yeah, really good tonight. Really, really positive. We brought in a new player today, Chris Henry. Who's joining us from Kingstonian. Chris
is that a permanent thing?
Well, it's an agreement between us and Kingstonian at the moment until the end of the season. They might call him back, but highly unlikely. Chris was with St Albans last year when they got promotion, so he knows the league. He's a quick left winger. And obviously with the decision we made with Dobbo, we needed to bring somebody in, and we've moved quite quickly to do that.
Another week of pressure and another big decision by you and Unders.
Yeah, I mean, I won't have a bad word to say about Dobbo. His attitude is absolutely spot on. Really, really nice lad. Myself and John are really disappointed it hasn't worked out. He started the season on fire for the first sort of 9-10 games, and unfortunately his performances have dipped, and we feel quite dramatically since I think he got injured, and then he got himself sent off, and he hasn't replicated any of his early season form, and he sort of looked like he's struggled with confidence, and we tried to get him out for a couple of games, and we tried to bring him off from the bench and start him, and it hasn't quite worked out for him, and it's unfortunate, but we're starting to look towards next season, and we just felt that we might need to do something there.
Is there any other players that you're looking at bringing in the interim or short term?
No, I mean, as I say, we're slowly, with Fowler and Clergy coming back to fitness. Spoke to Susie again tonight, maybe another 2 or 3 weeks or something like that, so we might see him. We've got Adam Martin to come back in. Liam Malone trained with us twice this week and trained very, very well. So all of a sudden we're starting to get a few numbers back, and the lads don't become a bad side overnight. So it's a little dip in form, But we've got to go into Saturday's game confident with what we've got, and we'll go and give it a real good game against Truro, who no doubt will be big, strong, physical, and be very direct.
Did any players go out and get any game time with any other teams this week?
No, as I say, because we played on Tuesday. We had this in-house game. Everyone was involved in that, and so we've trained again tonight. So no.
You say it's going to be tough against Truro. Obviously, it was a very physical, combative game down there, which we won 2-1.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? They're sitting fourth in the league at the moment. They're decent away from home.
Yeah, I mean, they were. I think we were probably fortunate to get the 3 points up at their place. They were a good side. We probably nicked it. I know their manager felt that we nicked it on the day and didn't deserve the win. We'll be getting our lads up for it because Truro are obviously going for the playoffs. They're a big, strong side, and they're experienced. And I remember, when we saw them, they were the land of the giants, and so we've got to adapt against that, and we've got to go and work as hard as we can, because that's the only way we'll get anything out of Saturday. It won't be about getting the ball down, passing nicely or anything. It's going to mix it up with them and try and beat them at their own game.
Are there going to be any specific or unusual, bold strategies to try and help get out of this run of form?
No, just hard work. That's all you can. That's all you can do. As managers, you send out the players that you feel are right for a particular game, and we're going to do that on Saturday. And at the end of the day, it's one of those games where we're not expected to win. But we need to try and get some form of result. We need to get a reaction. We need to get a much better reaction than we have from the last sort of couple of games at least. So we need to put in a performance and work hard. And you can accept defeat when you've worked hard and you feel like you've given everything. You can't accept defeat when you feel that you've given the game up or sloppiness has crept into it. So.
And if you put that performance in, hopefully the crowd will come to life a little bit and get behind you.
Yeah, I hope so. Obviously there was one or two negative voices on Saturday, and that's fine. That's to be expected. We got beat 4-0 at home at the end of the day against a side who hadn't been on a good run of form, so you can understand it. I was angry myself, so it is what it is. We've done a good job at Slough, and Slough are in a better position than they were when we took over, and they'll we'll continue to do that, because that's myself and John. We're not ones that will sort of rest on our laurels and accept mediocrity. We expect players to work hard for us, for their teammates, and maybe we've lost that a little bit this season, recently, but we'll get that back.
Off the field, there's been a couple of interesting things happening in the last few days. One of which was a positive around kit sponsorship.
Yeah, great from Gary. A bit out of the blue, I have to say. I wasn't expecting that. Fantastic news. I think he's.
What do you think of the design? Was it the one you voted for? The Arsenal
kit,
way
of the kit. Yeah, to be fair, it was out of the four, either number one or number two, we're quite happy with. I think. There were one or two other designs that we had seen as well. One that I quite liked, but didn't get shortlisted, unfortunately. So, and it wasn't a pink kit.
Was it for the larger men?
No, it wasn't for the larger men either. But yeah, no, it's hopefully that'll be a nice kit. So we're that's good, and yeah, it's great news for Gary. Sponsoring it. Shows his support for the club, and top news.
With regards to the kit and things, I know, are you looking at the material of it and how it's actually designed?
Yeah, we are. I mean, people, supporters won't necessarily understand this part of it, but the kit is actually quite heavy, so it does not weigh the lads down, but you talk about getting an advantage in football and in all sports, and even like swimming, having the right equipment and kit and whatever else, and so we are looking at trying to get a different material where it's a little bit more lightweight for the players, especially when it's raining. The kit doesn't get quite as heavy, and I know it's almost silly to say, but you need to try and look for every advantage. Well, I remember when we were at Godalming in our sort of third year, we made a decision on the kit. We actually picked a skin tight kit.
Wasn't
bit
that just for Guy Hollis?
That was just for Guy Hollis, but it was almost like the Cameroon kit where I think they wore at the World Cup or African Nations, and it was fantastic. The lads loved it because people actually came to the games and thought, oh, blimey, you know, it's a big, you know, big side, and so mentally it got to them. But also, what happened was teams couldn't actually grab hold of the shirts. So where you see all the jostling and stuff from set pieces, they couldn't actually hold on to the shirts, and we found that a massive advantage for us that year. So, you know, if we can do something like that, then that would be great. But I don't know whether that's possible.
And the second piece of news, I'm not sure whether it's positive, negative, frustrating, is around the Southern League announcement around the Banbury fixture that they've decreed that it needs to be replayed. What are your immediate thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I won't say an awful lot on this. I think the club have made a statement tonight, bitterly disappointed for the reputation of the game. Really, I think it was a decision that, you know, the Southern League should have made in our favour, because unfortunately it sets out a terrible precedent. You know, that if teams lose in a game, all we've got to do is go and assault the referee, and you know the game will get abandoned and replayed. And you know, I'm really surprised by it. You know, I've been in football a long time, and you know, I've never seen anything quite like it. Fortunately, I went to a Banbury game not so long after the, you know, the incident, and you know the lad that was involved was actually at the game. So you know, it's a real frustration for me. I thought the league or the FA would have you know, really looked into this and realised that it sets a poor precedent on and going forward. You know, and I don't know.
Do you think the club will appeal, or do you think they should appeal?
I think we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss the merits for it. I believe we've got 14 days to appeal it, and we'll use those. You know, we use that time wisely to think it through. Yeah, I you know, despite, you know, it's not for the fact that we've got to go up there on a Tuesday night. Players have got to get out of work. We're not going to get compensated for it. So yeah, I think it's a poor decision. You know, it's not like floodlights have gone out or, you know, something out of their control. Unfortunately, at the time it was an incident that the referee should have been better protected, and unfortunately the blame can only be laid at Banbury's feet for that.
Okay, well, let's talk more hopefully about football after Saturday. Let's hope for a 3 points and a Slough victory and a return to form.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, we've got to keep our fingers crossed for that. But we know we're going to have to work hard, and you know, we'll be looking to try and turn a corner.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure, like everyone, look forward to a good performance on Saturday.
Cheers, John.
Cheers. Hello, and welcome to Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough joint manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Good, John.
Good afternoon and welcome for the second half here at Holloways Park for today's Evo Sticks Southern Premier League match between Slough Town and Truro City. The players for both teams are out at the moment. Don't seem to be any substitutions that we can see. We're just waiting for the referee to come out. The score is Slough Town 0, Truro City 1, with Vassell scoring for Truro City on the 21st minute. And the only other news for the Slough fans is the substitution of Fowler on 38 minutes with what looks like a slight knee injury. We do hope it's a precautionary substitution. Obviously coming back from an ACL since last March.
Last February, February it was.
Was it February?
Yeah, February, the game here against Egham. Was it a 2-2 draw that day?
No, they won 3-1.
Oh,
It's 3-1. They ended our winning
streak at that stage.
Or unbeaten streak, as it was, wasn't it? So, referee and the linesman just coming out. So we'll just run through the teams with you. For the Rebels in goal, Luke Williams. 2 is Sean Fraser. 3, Ryan Parsons, who's now captain. Then we've got 5, Rhys York. 6, Billy Jeffries. 7, George Short. 8, James McClurg. 9, Scott Harris. 10 is Ed Smith. 11 is Liam Malone. And Guy Hollis is 12. And then the subs for Slough, 14, Jake Parsons. 15, Chris Henry. 16, Dan Reid. And 18 is Gherkin Gockman. And for Truro City in goal is Tom McHale. 2, Shane White. 3, Danny Greenslade. 4, and captain is Jake Ash. 5, Rob Farkin. 6, Aaron Pugh. 7, Dan Green. 8, Shane Crack. 9, Matt Wright. 10 is Isaac Vassell, goal scorer. 11, Cody Cook. And the subs for Truro, 12, Craig Duff. 14, Les Athel. 15, Ryan Brett. 16 is player manager Steve Tully, and 13 is sub goalkeeper Carl Moore. As Truro gets started straight away, and immediately Ed Smith with a scything tackle on Jake Ash.
Yeah,
and Jake Ash is chasing after the referee. Didn't like that at all.
A bit more passion, though, there for the Rebels within the first 5 seconds of the second half. As
yeah, but it was Ed.
Yeah, Luke Williams down to our left-hand side in this half. Dressed in royal blue, the short, stocky goalkeeper looking to take this goal kick clearly, try and get Slough some momentum in the second half. They're playing slightly up the hill from left to right, and Pugh just leaving Harris off the ball there, and Wright's picked up the crumbs, but Reshawk, no nonsense, smashes the ball forward, and Harris is interested. He's up against the tall figure of Pugh. It looks as if, interestingly, the two Slough centre forwards have swapped which defenders they're going up against this half. I'm sure that's deliberate, as that's aimed in our general direction.
Have we been bad-mouthing Guy Hollis that he's going to kick the ball at us?
No. But yeah, the White Tigers going down the hill, slightly towards the kind of M40 services end, and immediately Vassell's putting pressure down there on Reshawk, and Reshawk just used his armour to kind of lead sideways to
a bit of a rugby kind of push there.
How many was that? 204 or 304?
Must be 304. As the ex-Windsor manager Keith Scott just walks past us.
Just coming to the game and having a little look round as Williams once again clears the ball out right up to the halfway line. Scott Harris underneath it. Pugh leaps above him, and it's now Wright, who's been ever present, hooks the ball forward, and it's in the direction of Vassell. And Vassell uses his strength and smashes the ball past it, hits the post, heads got the rebound in, and that's a goal immediately. 2 minutes into the second half. Truro double their lead, Vassell doubles his tally for the day, and that's exactly what they wanted. And once again, Slough in recent times go behind to a second goal.
Exactly like Redditch, wasn't it? They scored in the first 28 seconds of the second half, and Slough just started poorly. And you've got to say that Vassell's strength was the main factor in that goal. He held off Reshawk, won the first one, hit it against the post, first to react again to that rebound and heads it into an empty net, and it's Truro City 2-0 up. And normally what happens after Slough concede a second goal is 3 minutes later they'll concede a third, so don't turn off just yet. I'm sure there'll be more goals in this game.
Slough going on the attack though from the kickoff with Parsons down the left hand side into Harris, and Harris has got a little bit of the ball. He's facing forward, he chips the ball through to Ed Smith. Ed Smith through, and he smashed it into the left hand side net when George Short was the ball there, square across the goal. But that was much better from the Rebels. They could have been equal. They could have pulled a goal back. Equals hope in there. Sorry, Truro fans out there.
And that's just the kind of luck that Slough had. Ed Smith should have at least got that on target.
Well, I think the better ball was to pull it back, because there was two Slough players there following through. There was George Short 6 yards from goal. He could have just tapped it inside foot.
Is that Fowler just walking past the bus?
The bus?
Steak bar.
Yes, it is. He is walking freely. It's good to see. But the ideal start for Truro City. They've doubled their lead within 2 minutes of the half-time incidents, and then there was just a little bit there. The referee's assistant on the far side shows a free kick there against the figure of Cook on the far side up against Billy Jeffries. Seems to have been that they're lining up in a slightly different formation initially anyway. I think Billy Jeffries is now making his way gradually over to the right, but the free kick 10 yards inside the Slough half. Goalkeeper Luke Williams coming out to take it all the way up to almost till the edge of the D, left hand side of the pitch towards the thing, and the sun's just coming out to blind us a little bit, which is useful. Puts it into the left hand channel up at Ed Smith, and Ed Smith's out jumped once again by Pugh. One in midfield there by Malone, but it's hooked forward again there.
Vassell's got two, and he's going past them both.
Having a chase up against it, but Guy Hollis has just won it back. He got
short tug
back there.
Yeah, short tug, well spotted.
Vassell certainly making an absolute monster of himself down there, isn't he? He's having a hell of a game.
Yeah, and he obviously wanted to swap shirts with Guy Hollis, but he's got to wait till the end of the game for that to happen.
Corby have gone 2-0 up at home to Banbury in another game which will interest Truro City fans near the top of the table, as the ball takes an almighty bounce, and Reshawk plays a horrible ball back to Williams, who hooks it clear, and then Luke.
And then he's volleyed it across the
volleys
field
it straight across the middle of the pitch. This is almost like watching under-10s play or something. And
it's like watching Brazil, but the Brazil
that lost 7-1 or whatever to Germany.
Exactly.
Is Malone trying to make a monster of himself, but it's down the left hand side, and Cook's going to be able to have a bit of time and space to come back onto his right hand side, try and get the ball into the box. He plays it short to Greenslade.
Gets it back,
and he's Malone. Back, and it's Billy Jeffries at the near post cutting the ball out, but it's a corner to Truro. We're 5 minutes into the second half. Truro lead by 2-0. A good away day for them so far. Made that long trip worthwhile so far in their playoff search.
Could Slough be losing a third game in a row 4-0?
Well, let's hope not. John Underwood said he wouldn't talk to me after the game if that was the case. I was saying whether I could maybe get some words with him after the game. And he said...
You'd have to take a bleep machine with you.
I will. I don't think they'll like seeing us. I mean, there must be something that we could do. Perhaps we should get changed in the away dressing room or something like that. Just something superstitious that might change it. As the long corner comes in towards the back post, there's bodies going sprawling on the floor. There's 2 Slough and 1 Truro City players. As Jamie McClure gets the ball bowled out, but coming back at a vast rate, not as crack, but a good ball crossfield to Ed Smith. And Ed Smith now up against 2 or 3 players. There's only 3 Slough players up, and Jamie McClure is in the box, and it's a great tackle by Crack on the penalty spot as the ball was taken up by McClure.
Just made a terrible mistake there.
And that was great play between the 3 Slough players of Ed Smith, Scott Harris and Jamie McClurg. And Jamie McClurg did everything right, but a fantastic covering challenge there by Crack. Just put his foot in. He couldn't have got that wrong at any time as he was on the penalty spot facing towards his own goal. And he did it very well, didn't he?
He did, and he's an unsung hero for this team. He does a lot of work.
Dirty stuff.
He
does like Ben Ed.
Yeah, and a substitution for the Rebels. Billy Jeffries is going off. And it's going to be a debut for Chris Henry.
Yeah, Henry's coming on. In the 52nd minute, 52nd minute. And
52nd minute.
As the Truro fans have made their way to the small shed end behind to our left-hand side, you can see the black and white flag of Cornwall being displayed proudly behind that goal as they're enjoying their day away up here in Beaconsfield as Chris Henry starts to make his way around the pitch. It looks like Slough will be going through a 4-4-2 formation with Henry playing as a left
and
winger.
McClurg on the right side.
McClurg potentially now acting captain as Slough concede a throw in just up on the halfway line. Chris Henry will have to do a little bit of defending here as Ash stands over the ball just inside the
He's going to leave it. He's going to leave it for Farkins.
He's left it for Farkins. He's played the ball down the channel for Wright to get after, and Wright's done well. Sensible run there. He's up against edge of the box. He's played it inside well to White, but he's dummied it, left it for Cook. Cook's now on the ball. He's good strength there by Henry, who's given him a good old shove, despite him being about half the size of him. But Truro still pressing Slough there in towards the edge of the box. Nice interplay there, and it's running deep, and a bit of pressure on Reshalk. He does well. I think he's actually won a goal kick there.
He has. He's played it off Cook.
Plays it off Cook in there, and solid play there. But nice to see Henry getting involved nice and early on.
I think it was more of a rugby kind of push than
it was almost like a bit of an ice hockey handoff, wasn't it?
Yes.
Rugby
league handoff, maybe.
Yeah, rugby league handoff. All right, yeah, as balls once again direct and forward, and it's Farkin with it. It's hooked forward now, and Wright. Do you suspect that Wright might run out of legs at some point at this game, and then we may get another striker on? Do you think?
No, he'll still have 2 legs at the end of the game.
So okay, run out of energy, shall we say then? And
I don't know. Players like to play, don't they? And he's enjoying himself. He's
having a hell of a game and an influence, and you'd be.
That's handball. Yeah, there you go. See, look. Told you. A
handball against Slough there, just in front of the away dugout on that far side. So Truro City will look to probably get the ball directly into the box. It's a throw-in being awarded, and it's to double goal scorer Vassell, edge of the box. He's fired forward, and Slough struggling to clear their lines here. And Vassell once again with the ball tries to slot it to the right, gets crossed in, but it's too deep there by Green, and it's behind for a goal kick. Slough need to compose themselves. They haven't conceded another one now. We're nearly 10 minutes into the second half. They trail by 2 goals.
We normally concede another goal 3 minutes. It's not good.
And once again, the only noise in the ground from any fans sounds like it's coming from Truro fans behind that Williams' goal away to our left-hand side as we look at it.
There's a pigeon just flying past as well. That was exciting.
It's getting exciting here. As Harris does well to rise the ball. Flicked on by Ed Smith. Now McClurg has an opportunity for the right, but it's well closed down there by Greenslade.
Into the corner, keepers go for it.
And it's...
Quick throw.
No, the ball's gone out a little bit too far, but good decision maker there by McHale. He came out quite away, but Slough are going to have an attacking throw right in the far right corner. Guy Hollis has gone all the way forward to take it. As it just starts to get a little bit dark here, there's a little bit of consternation, and Wright screaming at someone to pick up Reshalk and the edge of the box. But he stayed forward, and it's towards Reshalk, and Reshalk gets on it well.
It's got to be handball.
It's a penalty to Slough. It's a penalty against Farkin. Farkin adjudged to have handled the ball, so Slough have an opportunity to get back in this with a penalty in what will be the 65th minute, it looks like. The 55th minute. I keep on going ahead by 10 minutes.
I know.
And it's going to be...
Scott Harris
with a penalty to score Slough's first goal in 3 games.
First goal ever.
McHale
just a little quick drink of a thing.
And it's a yellow card against Farkin.
That seems a bit harsh.
I think it was for something he said.
Okay.
I don't think it's for the handball itself. But Farkin in the 55th minute is the judge to have done it, and now we're in the 56th minute. Scott Harris has the task of trying to claw Slough back into this game and score a goal. Right-footed run-up on his goal line. McHale just jumping around a little bit. Stepped up and he's sent it the wrong way, and it's a good goal, and Slough back in the game, and immediately there's a little bit of banter there. Ed Smith's ginger on ginger in the goal, and Slough are back in this game. They trail by 2-1, and hopefully that's given the fans something to shout about. But if you look at them,
They're still stood there just checking their
silent,
phones.
looking at phones. Them
The noise is actually coming from the people who are normally quiet, sitting in the stand here by us.
I just don't believe it. What has happened? And again, still the fans are shouting. Are the Truro fans away to our left? As Truro immediately back on the attack with Cook down the left-hand side, far left corner, and it's a free kick, I believe, against McClurg.
McClurgy in the corner.
In that very far left-hand corner, and it's going to be Crack to take it. And John Underwood's going absolutely ballistic on the halfway line. He's come well out of his technical area, and he's just kicked the bottles. I'm not quite sure what he's saying, but he wasn't
Arsene
at all
Wenger-esque, is it?
It wasn't quite that esque, and certainly no chance from any fans about that. But it's going to be an in-swinging free kick, almost like a corner, far left-hand side. Crack with it. Lots of big players forward for Truro. They've caused problems so far for Slough from defensive. It's overhit, and it's way overhit.
The only person that was going to actually go anywhere near is the steward on the far-hand side who's over on there.
As hopefully the game's burst to life. So we have played 57 minutes, and it is Slough 1, Truro City 2. They came from a deficit in the first game earlier this season at Trail Road, where they were trailing by 1 goal and came back to win 2-1.
Both goal scorers aren't actually with the club anymore.
No, Dobson and Dyer, the 2 Ds, neither of them
2
are
JDs actually.
2 Ds, yeah. No Cokes, double JD. As
Chris Henry's just given away a foul. He's like, to describe it, he's about 3'2", and Farkins is about 6 foot.
He just left a little bit on him there, didn't he? As Hitchin have gone a goal up at home against Biggleswade, so Biggleswade tumble is even worse than Slough's at the moment. They're really struggling. But Truro,
Did they win the other week though, Biggleswade?
They did. They beat Corby.
Yeah,
they did. Histon a 2-0 down at Bideford. There's the ball's pumped long towards the end of the Slough box. Well won by Reshort, but who's winning the seconds? It's Truro again as Crack heads it out to the left back. But Fraser's trying to cut the ball out. It's hooked forward, and I think it's going to be out in that far corner. But Ash has kept it in. Ash under pressure in that far corner.
He's won a throw in.
And he's won a throw in off Malone. And Slough under pressure and under defence. But that penalty coming slightly, probably against the run of play. But
it did look like the only way that Slough were actually going to score a goal.
As the ball's thrown in long and it's bouncing around in there, Hollis has headed it away, and there's plenty of appeals and shouts. I'm not quite sure what for, but Williams immediately gets the ball, fires it upfield, and Pugh's headed that ball straight to the path of Henry. Henry's taken a touch. He's up against the left, the right back. He's doing a couple of trips. He's trying to get to the byline. He's skating around the byline. He's crossed it in. It's repelled at the front post by Pugh. That was good work there by Henry down the left-hand side, and now Parsons trying to box Cook in that corner. No one puts Cook in the corner. That looked like that would have gone out.
Nobody puts Cook in the... Have you been watching Dirty Dancing?
That looked like that ball had gone out for a corner there when it was cleared there by White, but not doing. And Truro quickly get that free kick on the way. George Short takes out right on the halfway line, but no throw given. Truro just happy to slow it down a little bit. Steve Tully's just gesturing to calm things down a little bit, and Henry, who's made a real impact since he's come on, he's made a nuisance of himself, hasn't he?
Well, I did say in the first half, you just wonder if the formation was wrong for Slough, and they've switched to a 4-4-2.
And Vassell's diving down. He doesn't give anything up, does he? He nearly collides with the wall head first behind that goal away to our left-hand side. But Truro just still asking questions of Slough, and it looked like it hit a hand of George Short, and Guy Hollis is going to scamper across. He was asking for his goalkeeper to come. He's not at all happy that Luke Williams didn't come out and do that. There's some stern words there being exchanged between the two of them.
It looked a bit far for Luke to come out, to be fair, but... the bit of communication, if one of them shouts, he says come for it, then he comes for it, and... clear it. You can't just expect someone to come for it. But it's a throw-in for Truro City. It's just alongside the Slough Town.
As I can hear Slough fans shouting for the first time. They were doing some Slough Town. As Fraser hooks the ball forward. It's on Pugh's head. Pugh just gets a little nudge from Ed Smith as he gets it, and then a forward header there by Green, but it's not well directed. And Henry's got the ball on the halfway line. He's going to battle for it. He does well. He looks composed as he plays it to Parsons. First time ball in the direction of it, Harris, but it's well met there by the Farkins. But Truro just look a little bit unsettled.
Harris has just left his foot in on Jake Ash there.
That just looked like a good, strong, physical challenge.
No,
Ash,
I think he's just
Ash is staying down, doing the captain's thing. I think he's being professional here, isn't he? I don't think he's hurt.
I think he's gone for the ball, Scott Harris, but he's gone with a flat foot, and it's just the studs. So maybe
it's
he's caught
very similar to the Vassell challenge in the first half, wasn't it, on Fowler?
But it's a free kick, and Ash is up. He's fine.
I've got a drinking problem.
Are you spilling it?
Yeah.
Can't take your Coke. No, obviously not.
Less said about that, but I was sorry. Are we yeah.
Anyway. Coca-Cola.
Yeah, good.
Before anyone starts sending stuff in.
My mum is listening.
Okay.
Can we not go down that line? As
you started it.
I didn't start anything. As the ball's cleared long towards the edge of the Vassell, having a hell of a battle against Hollis, but it's picked up by Oakes second hand, but Reese, but Fraser's done well, clips the ball down the line. Slough, good strength there shown by Harris as he's muscled Pugh off the ball, and that was real good strength there. And Pugh doesn't really know what to do with that because he's normally the giver.
I think he's expecting a free kick there.
Yeah, but I think that's normally what he does day in day out to those centre forwards that he marks, and so I think that was just one that Scott Harris put back on him a little bit as he just levered him off the ball. And he went flying theatrically onto his nose as. Guy Hollis in the right back position for Slough. This game just coming to the boil a little bit as fires the ball up. Harris collects it, tries to play the ball down the line. He's battling in there strong, and
the lino didn't know where
the lino was looking at the referee for assistance.
The referee was looking at the lino.
I think the referee's had quite a strong game so far today. Referee seems to be quite Matt Corlett. Seems to have got most of the major decisions right, I'd say.
Yep. Definitely a penalty for Slough.
As Guy Hollis, tattooed arms, fires the long throw in towards the edge of the Truro box. George Short flicks it on. It's Scott Harris, edge of the box. He's juggled it. It's juggled and knocked up in the air, but it didn't really have enough penetration. As Wright comes a long way to collect it, but in comes Parson with a challenge. Then Malone helps it on its way. Offside. But Ed Smith's offside. We've played 18 minutes of the second half. It is Slough 1, Truro City 2. Truro taking a 2-goal advantage, and they're going to make their first substitute of the game, showing boards the wrong way round, which doesn't really help us very much. It's going to be
14 for 11.
Affle's coming off. Affle's coming on for Cook in the, what I would make 63rd minute.
So we've now got the two smallest wingers ever to play football. Both Affle and Henry have got to be under the 4'2" kind of size. And just confirmed there by the match announcer.
And Truro still have a couple of other subs warming up down in that far corner, as well as
Jake Parsons.
Jake Parsons having a little bit of show. He always makes friends with anybody. He's making friends down there in that corner with the Truro City subs. As Truro in the final third have a throw in. They fired it into the feet of Vassell. Vassell back to the thrower, who is White. Tries to take a little bit off, and Henry shuts him down quickly. But through the back comes Farkins. Farkins now gets the ball in and then headed away, but Farkins edge of the box picks it up well, flick the ball in. It looked like a handball there against Malone, but it's picked up by Scott Harris, and Scott Harris undercooked that pass a little bit to McClurg, and McClurg tried a long crossfield pass to Ed Smith, but Slough, certainly that goal has given them confidence, hasn't it?
And maybe it's a change of formation as well. They're more suited to a 4-4-2
as Crack comes back well, but Fraser holds the ball up well. He's battling well against Crack. Crack's giving him as good as he gets.
He's got no options.
Near side. Ed Smith takes a touch back to McClurg. They're playing the ball around a lot better, and McClurg gets close down, and then it's going to give the opportunity for Wright to keep the ball in on this tight left-hand side with Ash overtaking, and Ash going into the edge of the box. Hollis is going to need to be tight. That was a terrible tackle. That was a terrible tackle by Guy Hollis, and Ash is furious. Ash is going to get booked. Ash is certainly going to get booked.
How is he
Hollis got none of the ball. The ball, admittedly, the ball was probably out by the time the decision was made, but that is a
disgraceful. Just as you said that the referee hadn't got anything wrong, that is the worst decision you will ever see. And he is booking him.
Who's he booking?
He's booking Ash.
He's booking Ash.
Whether he's booking him for diving or his reaction, I don't know, but. And I presume it is just a booking and not a red.
No, I suspect it will be a booking, but that was Yeah,
That is absolute
poor old Ash there.
disgrace.
And that doesn't help his bookings tally for the season. But that was
and you can tell it's a terrible decision. The people in the stand that are sitting next to us are normally quiet and they don't say much, and they're laughing at the fact that is a terrible decision. And it's your fault for saying that the referee was doing so well.
Well, he was having a good game, but Slough very lucky not to concede a penalty there. As we've played 20 minutes of the second half, it is Slough 1, Truro City 2. Truro just unlucky not to have got a penalty there as Guy Hollis chucked himself at the ball as Ash was running through and Scott Harris then battling. You can see that perhaps hopefully the referee over this next 10 or 15 minutes won't lose control of this game as Harris helps the ball onto Henry, who wins a header. And then Scott Harris is going in strongly and now Scott Harris is going to go in the book. So this is where the referee has done. He's done 70 minutes of decent referee or 60 minutes of decent refereeing, and now
I think
goes to
Scott Harris is being booked for consistent fouling.
So now Scott Harris is booked. So Scott Harris, the second rebel to go in the book.
First rebel.
First rebel to go in the book, and
2 from Truro at the moment.
And Hughes holding his back just slightly gingerly, the kind of small of his back, and Farkin's just asking a couple of questions of the referee. Just Truro quite happy to slow.
I think he's asking more than a couple.
This game suddenly just got a little bit more feisty since Slough equalised in the last 10 minutes or so.
You're adding a goal on. We're 2-1 down.
Oh, sorry. Since Slough came back into it.
You're hoping, aren't you?
I am hoping.
It's Greenslade with the free kick, aimed at right, but well won by Rhys York, headed out, and that will be a throw-in on the halfway line to the Whites.
And Carlsberg, probably the Carlsberg-sponsored Truro are looking to just slow the game down a little bit at the moment. It's in their interest to do so. I think they just want to take a little bit of sting out of Slough's recent adventures, but they're still attacking hard as it's goal scorer Vassell lays the ball off. They're trying to overcomplicate it. Played into the substitute, the small figure of Affle, but George Short manages to get the ball clear up towards the halfway line. Now Ed Smith's leapt all over by Crack, and it seemed to be a foul there in the same way the other way around. And Ed Smith's now a little bit frustrated, working hard though, gives away the throw-in, but better intent there from Slough Ade. Yeah,
and better from Ed Smith. Normally he will lose his head in that kind of situation, but he's done well to try and get the ball.
Right, flicks the ball on. Affle takes a touch in the edge of the 18-yard box. He's going to spin. He's facing towards his own goal. He's played it out. It's curled shot directly into the arms of Williams by Wright, and Williams will look to get the ball away clear as game just settles for a moment. A flock of birds fly away from right to left over the head, and Scott Harris flicks the ball onto Henry, and Henry's after this, and Henry's
up against White
in front of the Berg van, up against White, cuts back, tries to use his trickery of his feet, goes wide of him, looks to cut the ball back, and he's done a couple of tricks. He's lost the ball though, and it will be White able to clear the ball into Affle, who's in acres of space just inside his own half, plays it out right to Vassell, goes on, and Affle's got a lot to do there if he's going to pick that one up. Hollis is retreating well, but it's going to go all the way through to a goal kick.
Affle gave up there, didn't he? Ball was just bouncing around there, and
Jake Parsons going through quite a vigorous warm-up here. I think it's going to not be long till we see him.
I think
come on.
Malone will come off.
I think Malone will come off, and or maybe Short, and potentially even McClure. It depends how much legs McClure's got. He hasn't had that. He hasn't had those many that many minutes in the last.
He must have had some sleepless nights as well, being the father of newborn twins as well.
Yes, so interesting to see how we're getting on. So.
As Affle wins the ball in midfield, but George Short comes back with a tackle. Fraser clears, and again Ash is challenged well by Scott Harris, and a foul there by Affle on George Short.
and it is literally little against large, and George Short just literally shoved him like a child. As George Short not happy at all. Fraser's taking the ball down the right hand side. He stops, hooks it back to Malone, making his debut. Very tanned. Plays it off to Fraser.
Switch it to Ryan Parsons.
Plays it inside to George Short. George Short getting pursued by Wright, and there's a little bit of passion out there, I think, from Wright as Rhys Short comes across a long way. Wins the header, plays it to Malone, does well to give the ball back to Rhys Short. Rhys Short out to Parsons. Truro certainly have been troubled a little bit in these last 5 or 10 minutes by Slough's. Ball off from Henley, Ryan Parsons, Slough controlling the ball better, asking a few more questions of Truro, and it's poor touch by Ryan Parsons, who hasn't had his best game, I would say, in a Slough shirt today, but he's been effective enough as Rhys Short plays a long direct ball forward, and he asks Scott Harris to chase round him, give him a shove into the wall, Scott, why not, as the referee just tries to calm it down between the two. We played 25 minutes of the second half. There's a substitute here for the Rebels. It's going to be Jake Parsons coming on, and it looks like George Short's making his way over there.
George Short coming off.
Short giving way. So
what minute was that, please, sir?
That's going to be in the 70th minute. So we've got 20 minutes of this game left. It is Slough 1, Truro City 2.
And Parsons immediately comes over to the right, so it's going to be 4-4-2, and it's going to be Malone and McClurg in the centre for Slough, and not the tallest of centre midfield partnerships.
No, it's probably the shortest. There is a number of small players on the pitch now. We've got Henry, Malone and McClurg for Slough, and equally there's Affle's probably the only one for Truro City. So it's there's going to be a few occurrences where there's going to be matchups out there where there's going to be one significantly taller man.
Are you saying we're watching like midget football or something like that?
No, I'm not being heightist. As Truro again attacking now. The ball's just out of play for a throw-in on the right-hand side, which White is going to take midway inside the Slough half, looking for an option. Crack showing himself. Further on is Green. And once again, Henry's shutting it down well and tries to fire a ball forward through to Scott Harris, who's come back to try and get interested. And now Crack over on that far side. Slight change of position and formation. And Crack's overlapping well. He's up to the byline. He's going to cross it in. He's side-footed across goal, hipped away by Reshaw. Slough living a little bit on the edges. Scott Harris hooks a long ball forward, and it's Ed Smith against three Truro City defenders. He just needs to make a monkey of himself, and he has done. He's done well.
He's got caught in the face
and then he just got pulled off there by Pugh, and Ed Smith on the floor as Pugh seemed to lash out an arm. Just
I think it was just as he turned from playing the ball, he's just caught him accidentally. But if the referee's seen it.
He was facing towards it. It depends what he's made of it. As Ed Smith still lays prostrate. I think he's making a bit of a deal of this, but I think he's playing it for the referee. As we're in the final 20 minutes here, it's Slough 1, Truro 2, and Ed Smith laying prostrate at the moment. And the referee's now taking across Pugh, who's going to maybe add to his 14th booking of the season. This is going to be number 15, so he'll face another suspension after this.
It'll be quite a long one, won't it? If it's 15, isn't
I
that
would think it's going to be at least 3. That's if this isn't another colour other than yellow, but I suspect it is only going to be a yellow. There doesn't seem to be anyone particularly really pushing and shoving or feisting, but it is a yellow for Pugh. His 15th of the season. That's a considerable amount to rack up, isn't it?
He must have had shares in Clinton's.
He must do, but he's going to have another couple of games off then, at least. And you can see the way that he plays. He probably does attract bookings.
Maybe it'd be a good thing if you take 2 weeks from now and he gets a free game ban. He'll be free for the playoffs if Truro City do get there.
And there was that article in I think it was with Ash earlier in the week around perhaps being a little bit clever. So
I was just reading a tweet from a St Neots fan about Hungerford Town.
Okay, sorry. It'll be interesting to see. There was some discussions earlier about some perhaps tactical bookings towards the latter stages of the season, as Adrian's distracted by female fans around us as ever. We're waiting for play to get underway. I would have thought it was a free kick. Was it not a free kick?
No, I think it wasn't a foul. The ball wasn't in play.
So Guy Hollis, long throw, far left-hand side, fires it into the box. It's headed back away by Reshaw, hooked away by Kraken, who's going to be second to the ball, and hits Vassell, who's shoved blatantly. And surely Vassell's got to be close for persistent infringement as well as Scott Harris. Every time the ball goes near him, recently he's in trouble.
I don't think he needed to do that. Malone's not the tallest of players, and he wasn't going anywhere with the ball, so no, but should have just let the play on, and he would have done well. But
Ryan Parsons just in front of the centre D in the Truro City half.
Guy Hollis is just going forward for this as well.
Sending the ball perhaps towards the far left-hand side. He's curling it in the direction of Reshaw. It's helped on its way, but out comes the keeper, McHale, holds onto it well in his all-orange kit and has the ball in his arms. Ed Smith would do well now to turn just to slow him down a little bit, but McHale kicks the ball out of his hand, slightly sideways direction, and it's in the direction of right, but it's all the way through. It's an over-hit kick all the way through and wasted to Williams in the other goal. I think Tully might be a little bit disappointed by that, and apparently it was an elbow to Smith. Some fans who were slightly closer to that incident with Ed Smith and Pugh say, as McClure's just getting pushed around a little bit by Green on the halfway line, trying to hold up his ground, but he's won the throw in. The game's certainly taken a different complexion in this last 10-15 minutes, hasn't it?
It has indeed, and maybe Slough just been a bit more physical. There's some Slough fans make some noise. Just some ironic cheers from the Truro fans.
As Neil Baker fields the ball well, Ryan Parsons sets up to Scott Harris, gets the ball back just in front of the Slough dugout on the left-hand side. Plenty of time, no shutdown from Truro. Crossfield ball. Good touch from Fraser. Fraser hooks it onto Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons takes a touch. Out to Fraser. Fraser overlapping again, but comes inside. Lays the ball off to Malone. Malone back to Jake Parsons. Slough, this is their best period of possession so far. just wins the ball, and Jake Parsons dancing on it. Doesn't have a lot of options.
No
Looks
option.
to create a pass, plays it off to Ed Smith, gets the ball back, but unfortunately just underruns it. And now Ed Smith does really well to battle back, wins the ball back superbly. That's much better impetus from Slough. Fired the ball across. It's headed away by Farkin, but Truro under a little bit of pressure here for the first time in the game.
Yeah, I just think that Slough maybe need to have get the ball into the box a little bit quicker. Truro are defending very well, but Slough just got to get it in and put the frighteners on there. That was a poor defensive header by Farkins, and it just came from the fact we got the cross in.
Truro still leading 2-1 here at Holloways. Hollis fires a ball into the box, headed up and away. Jake Parsons gets a decent touch on it, plays it out to Hollis. Hollis is going to look to deliver this into the box. It looked to be blocked by Crack's hand, but Hollis hooks it in left-footed. It doesn't penetrate. Ash hooks the ball up in the air, and now it's going to be Vassell and Fraser underneath it. They're having a good old battle on the halfway line, but a strong tackle coming in by Malone, who's now on his bottom, but sends Vassell on his way, right up there supporting him. Vassell advancing towards the left-hand edge of the box, cuts it back inside on his right foot, sets it up. Good header away by Ryan Parsons, but it's only as far as Crack. But Scott Harris looked to be coming back to have a crack as he plays the ball forward.
Vassell again turning.
Vassell just beating off the ball there, and Jake Parsons hooks the ball forward, and it's out. But nearly takes out a young female child, also known as a girl, I suppose in English.
Did you have trouble saying it as a girl?
Yeah, but I was trying to think of a word, but nearly took her out. Truro getting a bit of gamesmanship going here. They're just slowing it down a little bit as we're waiting for Greenslade just to get the game back underway. But I think some of the Slough fans will be a bit happier with the passion put in on this second half. Jake Parsons trying to hold off Greenwood in the second half, but he's given the ball away to Affle, and Affle interplays with Wright. But there's a lot more space out there, and Truro seem to be not quite holding their fitness levels up to the end of the second half. Henry, nice little touch off by Parsons. Henry will look for the return. He just got tugged back there, and that's a stupid booking there by Green. Green adding to his season's totals.
That's 4 for Truro now.
Yeah, they certainly don't mind the physical stuff and messing around a little bit. As Truro City have their 4th player going into the book. How many is it? Is it 5? 5 players booked and you
6.
6.
Six involves a fine. I know last season about 250 quid in the other league, but I think Slough have changed since they've changed the formation. Brought on Chris Henry. They look a lot more different. I think they've matched. They're overpowering maybe Truro with their 4 midfielders against the 3 that Truro have.
A ball fired into the Truro City box from the free kick, and defending there by Crack, and Reece York's up there defending, and it's only not
Jake,
as far as Jake Parsons. Plenty of space to cross the ball in deep. He's crossed it over the back. It's headed back and across, and it's in the net. Slough have equalised.
No, it's wide.
Everyone thought it equalised from here.
It's a corner. He's actually given a corner.
No idea how. It looked like Ed Smith headed the ball back, and it must have been bundled just past the post, and somehow at that far end it went under and into the back of the net.
You think it went under the net?
It went under the back and corner. It seemed to end up in the back of the net, but many Slough fans, including ourselves, apologies around us. It is still Slough 1, Truro City 2. Jake Parsons in swinging corner, far side, sets it up. Reece York attacks it.
Oh, good defensive header.
Well won by Captain Ash, who's had a strong game and had a strong penalty shout.
And he's just Vassell's just kicked the ball away.
Vassell just kicked the ball away, and he's incurring the wrath of the fans around here, and it just shows that they're slightly worried as Vassell's last action of the game.
Yeah, but Sean Fraser's just booted the ball back.
As in the 82nd minute, he's going to be replaced, and on comes Craig Duff, who's been struggling with a shoulder injury recently, but he's back out there, and it's the 82nd minute. Oh, sorry, not the 82nd.
I was going to say
78th. And Vassell was rather cynical there, and it just shows that Truro is slightly worried. He still hasn't made his way off the pitch. I'm not sure what's going on. This is the slowest substitution ever. Vassell's not doing it now.
No, he is. He's just time wasting.
As Vassell's still not coming on. He's come back on. He's gone back off. The referee's just...
He's pointed at his watch saying that he will be adding the time on, but...
And the Truro some of the Truro players, including Farking, trying to act as nice as pie there, and not quite as sure as that.
Craig Duff, the attacking midfielder, scored quite a few goals for Truro this season.
Yeah,
he scored the goal against Slough in the first
he's leading scorer. I think he scored 19 in all competitions. As Wright just left a little bit on Fraser there, and the Truro fans away to our left-hand side don't like that, but I think that's probably a fair decision, and just going to get kicked away by the first thing that Craig Duff does. Not Duff Beer. Did we talk about Duff Beer? I think we did last time, didn't we?
More than that. I don't know. I wasn't doing it. You were doing it with Mick, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. Undoubtedly, we were probably talking about Duff Beer as the ball's launched forward into the Truro half, and it's with Ryan Parsons on the left-hand side to Chris Henry. Figure tries to knock it past,
well.
and he's done well. He's up to the byline. He's going to get the ball in. He's smashed it across, a great ball across. Everyone backed underneath it. McClurg desperately vying, but that was great work down the left wing by debutant Henry. He fired the ball across. No players could get on the end of it. It was a great head height. 6 or 7 yards out, but unluckily for Slough, no one could quite get on the end of it as we go into the final 10 minutes.
There's another substitution on the far hand side.
Crack's
it's going to be Ryan Brett for Crack.
So we've had enough of Crack, and Brett is coming on now for the final 10 minutes or so. Tully emptying his bench now, so hopefully he won't have any more injuries.
I wondered what you were going to say then.
What were you saying to him?
Emptying his bench.
And on comes yet another dwarf in Brett.
Another tall player in Brett, but Greensley's going to take the throw in here on the near side. He's just wasting more time. He's trying to pat a cake himself, I think, there. Long throw. Well won by Reece York. Chris Henry makes a poor mistake for the ball, and Green is able to bring it out.
Fires it out right to White. White inside his own half, but Henry's shutting him down easily. And he's gone down like a sack of potatoes. And I don't think Wright actually touched him there.
No, he didn't catch him at all.
And he's just dived to the floor as if he has been caught on the halfway line. And I don't think Henry was anywhere near him, really.
Maybe he trod on his foot or something, I don't know. But
certainly Truro showing their experience and their expertise here. They're just making the most of every little opportunity to just take the sting out of Slough's tail, as the home side have their tails slightly up. But Truro City very much looking dangerous and like a good goal-scoring threat on the attack. They've got a free kick just inside their own half, far right side of the pitch. It's going to be Farkin with it. I think he's going to drive it long in the direction of Wright. He's fired it forwards. It's right underneath it. He's headed it across. It's in the direction of Duff, but a good intercepting tackle there by Hollis. And a second opportunity for Hollis to get the ball away. And Jake Parsons now scrambling to keep the ball in. Cuts back well, looking for some support inside. There isn't many yellow bodies around. He's into a little bit of space. That's not the best deflected ball. And Guy Hollis has hit it off his standing foot. And Affles now. Affles kept the ball, running away from goal. Danger's just slightly diverted now. For now, they're quite happy, Truro, to just keep playing the ball away. And it's into Duff's feet. Duff trying to show his strength up against the short figure of Malone, who's done reasonably well on his debut. Hasn't been massively outstanding, but he's certainly got involved and put himself about a bit, hasn't he?
Well, I think he's been quite anonymous, actually. He doesn't seem to do it. He's just doing very simple things.
He does the quiet things in there. He does the dirty things, which I think why he could be seen to go missing. But he's broken up play quite a lot. He's given it away a few times, but I don't think it's the worst debut in the world. As Truro trying to get the ball into the box to Slough, hits Affle and rebounds away, and then try to be hooked away there up the line. And Ryan Parsons will try and help it on its way. He's chipped it forward. Scott Harris is coming to get it, but good interception there from Farkin. And a speculative effort at best, as it nearly goes miles out the ground and it's bouncing around down there. And the Truro City fan there isn't making his most of his time to go and get it. He's giving it back to Williams now. Williams sprints his way back across, but the Slough joint management team are just moving around a little bit. What are you looking for? What the new tweet is?
I'm just looking.
Frome nil. Frome nil. Cirencester, who Slough play next week, have scored a goal. So that's a goal in that division as the ball's fired long. Harris went up a little bit early, but Fraser's clipped the ball forward. He nearly got collided with Ash, but wins the second header into Ed Smith's feet. Ed Smith flicks the ball around the corner, and it's going to be Henry diving into the box. Henry left hand side of the box, cuts back inside on his right foot, but he's dancing around with it. It's a little bit too skillful, but it's out to Ryan Parsons. Left hand edge of the box, looks to chip it across far post. It's controlled by Scott Harris on the edge of the box. Flicks it out to Jake Parsons. That's not the best of moves, but now Slough have an attacking throw, which Fraser looks to take quickly.
No, they could take a short throw.
I think it's better if they do something quick and low and slow, but
no, they're going to wait. It's going to be a long throw for Guy Hollis.
Guy Hollis will fire this ball in. Slough certainly having the better of possession and chances in this last 10-15 minutes or so, but Guy Hollis leaning back against the wall, fires it in as the sun comes out
towards
Reece York wins the header, but it's hooked away by Ash, who's been ever present,
and Henry picks it up.
Henry on the far side. Henry up against Affle. It's two small players up against one another, but back to Ryan Parsons.
And the noise still coming from the Truro City fans.
Cross the ball in deep. There's plenty of Slough players in there. It's headed in by Reece York, but it's up and safely into the arms of the goalkeeper, McHale, who's done reasonably well considering he doesn't get much game time. He's done what he's had to do pretty solidly.
Yeah, he hasn't had a lot to do today in theory, so But he's a big long kick there, aimed at Wright, who's up against Fraser. Does well to control it, Wright. Good control. Holds off 2 players, but Fraser does well to win the ball.
Seems to go down quite easily, and then Slough win back the ball, and Harris is getting a chipped a little bit there, but Jake Parsons wins the ball well. Fraser clips the ball up in the air, and Harris is looking at the ball. He's attacked it, and he's won it well. Chested back by Ed Smith, but that's a hopeless ball now, and it's well dealt with by Wright. It's still combative. Both teams have good energy that they're showing at the moment. As
McClure plays it out to Ryan Parsons. Parsons on to Henry.
Slough asking questions as the sun comes out and the shadows are lengthening, and a quick throw there from York, I think it was, down the far left-hand side, and it's going to be an opportunity for Truro. Just, I think, want to take a little bit of the sting out of it, take an edge off it as Wright wins the header well in midfield, and Hollis takes a touch to Fraser. Fraser's under a bit of pressure here, scoops the ball out, and that's only to left back Greenslade. He hasn't really put a foot wrong yet today, and he plays a long ball down the line, and Wright's underneath it, but Fraser heads the ball inside, and Malone gets beaten to the ball there by Captain Ash,
but
and
Fraser brings
he's won
it.
the ball back, and Jake Parsons now has the ball. It's all a little bit tight there for Slough, and it's good hard battling in there. It's Ryan Brett involved.
Good try there for a quick throw to release Smith, but it's Green with the ball for Truro.
We're in the final 5 minutes here at Holloways Park. It remains Slough 1, Truro City 2, and Truro have kind of almost fallen into the trap of Slough at the moment. They're playing some quite direct, strong football where probably at this stage of the game they don't really need to, do they? They could afford to keep possession a little bit and play the ball around a bit more.
As Slough do now. Ryan Parsons with time on the ball. Out to Chris Henry.
You're getting more excited, aren't you? You're talking more.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you never let me have a word in edgeways.
Oh, yeah, we're like an old married couple. As a ball fired forward, Scott Harris gets it.
There's 2 here.
Ricochets kind to Slough. Ed's played out
Jake,
by
touch and shoot.
Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons takes a touch to Fraser. There's plenty of Slough players in the box, but there's also lots of white tigers back there. Fraser steps one up towards the back post. Harris rises well. He's headed it back. It was almost a better defensive header.
Parsons going to get
Jake Parsons going to try and cross it in. It's hit the player in the hand, but it's not done. Fraser fires it in again towards the far post. Henry on the right foot volley.
It's deflected,
and it's a corner to Slough. Slough asking a lot of questions in these 4 or 5 minutes. It's an anxious listen back in Cornwall for any of you players.
As some noise finally comes from the Slough fans. And Jake Parsons jogs over to take this corner. 3 minutes left of normal time. I would guess there's got to be
2 or 3 injury.
I would say maybe 4 or 5 minutes of extra time with the time wasting that Truro have put in. So it's going to be Jake Parsons with an in-swinging corner from the far-hand side. Plays near post to Smith. Smith flicks it on. Kuska! And Farkin's off the line.
That was Slough's best chance all game as it's McClurg, edge of the box, volleys, blocked by Captain Ash, and then Affle comes away with the ball, but Fraser hits the ball up in the air. It's going to be Brett underneath it, headed on by Reshawk, and it's bouncing up high, and McKay as well, and he's just gone down like a sack of spuds. There was no challenge, no physicality at all there, but doing well to take a little bit of pressure and emphasis out of the game. But Slough have shown a lot more pride in this second half, I think.
Yeah. And I do think it's down to the formation, bit more width in the team.
As Reshawk coming from the back wins the ball, tries to fire it forward. Truro look to be a bit more panicky on the ball now, and there's an awful miscue by Pugh, who's booked already. He's under pressure. He's done well and regained composure. He's bought himself a bit of time out of pressure there, but that was an absolute air shot that he took, and he was the last man, and he was a little bit lucky to get away with that. As Fraser picks up
first to the ball now. That's
Slough
the difference.
hungry. Ryan Parsons plays the ball forward to Henry on the halfway line. Slough attacking down this left-hand side. Parsons just tries to look to play a pass, and he plays it in behind, but decent defending there by White, who's been solid and comes away with the ball inside his own half, but overruns it slightly, gets into a bit of traffic, but managed to get the ball up to right. Reshawk very strong in there, and Slough. There could be issues here. There's a bit of pushing and shoving now.
It's the right back Shane Wright just gone in with a poor tackle on Reshawk.
And Reshawk's seething, and he's Johnny Evans spat away. But this
Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans. Yeah, Johnny Evans. You know, the spitting incident.
Oh right. Okay.
It's going to be interesting to see what the referee does
here. We're not saying that there was any spitting.
No, but that was an ugly tackle there by White, who's had a solid, decent game for there, and we're just trying to stare through it. But it's another yellow, so that's the 5th booking of the match for Truro City, and I don't think the referee's been he hasn't been card happy, has he? It's not one of those games.
No, but it was a poor challenge by White, and he didn't need to make it, but he has, and it's a free kick for the Rebels on the halfway line.
Seems to be some sort of change of shirt or something going on that far side. There seems to be a Truro player who's been dealt with off the edge of the pitch. I think it might be is it Duff with his shoulder? I'm not sure. As Ryan Parsons fires the ball into the box, underneath it's lots of Slough bodies, but it's ricocheted and is it hooked away by Brett. Out onto the halfway line, up almost near the Camagantry. Was that one of the players who's there, who's trying to get a shirt back on again?
Yeah,
now?
it is.
I think it's Duff with his shoulder. You can see he's got that blue tape that lots of these sportsmen have now on his left shoulder. Fraser on the halfway line. We're into added time here. We're in the 91st minute. Fraser driving forward over the halfway line. Lots of players forward. Nearly underhits that ball to Jake Parsons. Gets it back to Fraser. Fraser needs to get it into the box.
Yeah, they're up against 10 at the moment.
He's clipped it into the box and it's up there. Reece York's almost playing centre forward at the moment. I think he's been told he's given the green light to stay up there, hasn't he? Reece York, he's playing centre forward.
Especially with Duff off the pitch.
And going forward again, Slough down the far side. Henry on the left-hand side, cuts inside off his left foot. Nearly got caught, overruns the ball slightly. Plays it out to Fraser, good ball. Slough really asking questions of Truro here. Clip the ball forward, it's over the far side. The referee's assistant's flag still down. Down in the heap goes Scott Harris, and he's got cramp. I believe that's the signal for cramp. And the referee's
just coming to check to make sure the shirt.
I'm guessing it's blood.
It's either that or he's got really bad dandruff. He's taking his shorts off now.
He's taking his shorts off. He's got new shorts.
No,
Stop it now. Full time. Dunstable Town 0, Poole Town 2. So Poole still maintaining their strong automatic promotion push.
It's going to be a long throw on the far hand side by Guy Hollis.
Fires it in towards the near post. It's flicked on, headed away by Farkin, who's been everywhere. Edge of the box, Jake Parsons tries to head it back in. It's been fired long, and Luke Williams is going to need to be awake as Duff's after him, but flicked well up in the air by Williams, and it's battling around in there. There could be another goal at either end, and now Truro bombing forward as Brett down the left hand side. Plenty of players around him, but he's going to do the clever old pros thing of going to the corner. Strong tackle comes in from Fraser, concedes the throw-in, but that's exactly the position that Truro want to be played. We've played 2 minutes of injury time, and Truro are playing down in the left-hand half as two fans have stood up in front of us. You're going to knock Ade, or you're not going to bother? You could get her attention.
That's all right. To calm down.
You shouldn't do that, should you? As Truro happily just keeping the ball down in that left-hand corner. Keeping the ball safe and tight down there. It's the big figure, I think it is, of Wright down there. Nervous times here. They're still down in that corner. Another throw conceded. We must only have maybe a minute, maybe at most 2 left in this game. The Truro City fans away to that who've been
foul throw.
Very good value. Foul throw awarded, and Guy Hollis immediately goes over. This drama continues. Can Slough get somehow back into this game and get a point out of what looked like a hopeless cause at the start of the second half? As ball's fired up the line, Harris flicks it on, but it's picked up by Ash. Ash hooks it in towards the box. Reece confidently heads it back. Ahead of Duff as Duff was closing it down, and Williams fires a ball straight forward, but it's going to be met by Farkin. Farkin heads it back with a bit of interest. York controls it, one touch volley off his chest, and it's driven straight forward. This is really ugly football, but it's enthralling at the same time as it's Henry on the far side. Gets a touch, great quick feet, runs towards the edge of the box, flicks the ball in. It's bounced around on the edge of the box.
Oh, good tackle there by Pugh.
Tried to pull the trigger, but Pugh
and that's the full-time whistle.
That is it. Truro have won again on the road. They have won 2-1 in a thorough game here. We hope you've enjoyed it.
But
and
another frantic, wasn't it? They're frantic those last few minutes. And Scott Harris has been named man of the match by Scala, the match sponsors today, and the Slough fans are just they seem to be despondent. I think they should be a little bit more pleased with the second half performance. Yes. They've scored a goal, but I've got to say a big round of applause to the travelling Truro fans in that far corner. They've sung literally all game. They put the Slough fans to shame with their singing. Been there to support their team. They made the long journey up, and the players for Truro just going over now to give the fans a round of applause, and exactly how it should be. First half maybe wasn't a great game of football, but the second half turned into a good old ding-dong match.
No, I don't think Slough can argue. I think Truro were a better side. They are a better side, and they're certainly in better form, and they showed why they are in the position that they are. And I strongly suspect that they'll be in the playoffs at the end of the season, and
best of luck to them.
Will be a tough game for anybody. We'll say goodbye for now. We'll talk to you next week at Cirencester.
Have you got Mick doing it next week?
I'm not sure. I think so, yeah, but we'll see. But anyway, on to next week. But thank you very much for tuning in. Any feedback, please do contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio. Hopefully you've enjoyed the afternoon and yet another 90 minutes of football. We've had a goal from Slough, which has been good, and Truro,
even if it was a penalty,
Slough were quite soundly beaten though by Truro. But Truro, good luck to them for the rest of the season, and we'll